Oh shit, here we go, here we go. What's going on, guys? What's going on, everybody? County Gains back here again, once again. Of course, we got some legendary stuff to get through today. We have Andrew Tate back in America with Patrick Bet David. Make sure to tune in, guys. Hopefully this one's blown up already. It's gonna be insane, bro. I don't know what to expect. Andrew Tate's just out of jail, just out of flipping house arrest, I mean, for the last like 2 years or something like that. So this one's going to be wild, guys. If you're with me, man, drop a comment down below. Tell me where you guys are all watching from. Crazy, crazy video today. And yeah, let's get it. This is the live stream, guys. This just dropped 2 seconds ago, so let's go.
Okay, so it's episode 555 with the one and only Andrew Tate. We did it once. The first time I think was in Madrid. Second time was in Romania. Third time is in the States. He's in the flesh. He's here on the set. Andrew, it's great to have you on.
Bro, it's very good to see you.
Yes, it's good to see you.
It's been a while. What's it been, 2 years?
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since we did it last in Romania, which we came in right after your friendly meeting you had with BBC, which was fantastic. They treated you royally. You remember that whole setup?
I do remember, yeah. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that reporter, though. I think she's fallen into insignificance. It's kind of interesting how they sit me down and try and grill me when no one even cares who they are, so.
What? That's actually a very good question. Where is she? I don't even know what she does right now.
Well, she vanished. I guess the USAID money dried up, and she's vanished now. I mean,
the BBC, guys, obviously not a great track record with the people. You know, the BBC is, in my opinion, just pure propaganda. Same as RT News, same as all those news stations, News Talk, Virgin Media. I mean, come on. Plain and simple. This one's going to be crazy today. Come on.
These people sit down. I was offended by her for various reasons. The first one being when I was in jail, they were begging me for an interview, promising to tell my side of the story and highlight how people in Romania can be locked up without charges. And she said that she was going to ask these very interesting and pertinent questions about the Romanian judicial system. Turns out she hijacked me, turns up to my house with all these stupid hit piece questions instantly to get me when I got out of jail. I had nightmares, could barely sleep. I sit down with this interview and was completely sidelined. And that was her intention, to get a gotcha moment. And then she sits down and talks to me like she has authority in my home. I don't even know who this person is, and nobody knows who she is, and now I don't know where she's gone. So
yeah,
this is going to be insane. Tate is a very convincing guy. You know, some people like him, some people don't. But you got to understand, very convincing guy. He does this on purpose. He's very well-spoken, you know, expert speaker. So let's hear it.
I don't either. But folks, here's what I will tell you. We got a lot of things to talk about. If you have seen part 1 or part 2, you know we don't do 1 hour podcasts. We're going to talk for quite some time. Here's what I would tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube. Share the video with everybody. Text it to as many people as you know to make sure everybody gets the message. Tate said, push me, challenge me. Nothing's on the table. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things. But make sure you get this message to as many people as possible. Whether you're watching this on X or YouTube, let's make sure we do that. Okay, so opening question. Everybody's doing their thing. Nobody's paying attention to what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Andrew and Tristan Tate are on a flight on their way to Florida. They haven't tweeted anything for 24 hours. You guys concern people when you stop tweeting things, right? And then all of a sudden,
everybody thought they died or something because they weren't tweeting online. It's like, what the hell?
Tweet X, whatever you want to call it. There was no message going out. I don't know if you can say Xing, right? They were tweeting. So then all of a sudden, the news is you land in Florida. Everybody sees the video. When that happens, the great governor of Florida, which is one of the reasons why we moved here, he does a great job running the state. He was asked about you. This is what he had to say. Rob, if you can play the clip.
Send back to Romania or whatever. We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay.
So that's Ron DeSantis. He's like obviously a very conservative guy that I know of. I'm pretty sure Ron DeSantis, he must be conservative, being over a state like Florida. I have to look more into him, but yeah. And then people are kind of questioning why he said that.
Hey guys.
So he says you're not welcome. Now, President Trump was asked the same question. This was his reaction, and I'm just going to turn it over to you after this.
The federal government has jurisdiction, whether
Can you
they
turn
want
off the other one, Rob? Just close it up. Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already did.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
Andrew and
So you got the governor says Florida is not a place where you belong or welcome to. President Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. How were you allowed to come to the States and leave Romania?
You know what's interesting? Trump is such a boss. Trump is such a boss. His answer is, he is such a gangster. Don't know. Don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. That's the correct answer to most things. This is some life advice to everybody at home. 99% of the time, if you're asked a question as a man, the correct answer is, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so basically Ron DeSantis was saying that the people that are, what do they call them? Human traffickers aren't welcome in America. Well, I agree with that. I don't think those people should be allowed anywhere. I think you should be in jail with that. But, they still are on trial for that. So they haven't been convicted yet. So it's kind of like technically, it's like up in the air. So
I like Trump's answer. As for Ron, I'm a little bit disappointed, I'll be honest. I've never said anything bad about him. I didn't know much about him. I was a fan of his. I heard that Florida was a great state. I know he did well under COVID. I knew nothing about the guy. But it turns out when he was pressured, he instantly caved to the pressure. And we have to have a long conversation about why the liberals and why Soros and why these wrap-up smears, why they use the media to do what they do. Because what they try and do is isolate somebody. So they're afraid so people are afraid to represent them or stand by them or stick up for due process. I don't know why Ron.
Like I said, I'm just sticking up for due process. We don't know, has he been convicted of anything yet? He hasn't been convicted of anything, right? So, once he gets convicted, oh yeah, they won't be going anywhere near America. But for the time being, it seems like, I don't know why, it seems like they're swayed by the media a lot. Like, for me personally, I don't get swayed by people's opinions. I want to hear everybody talk,
Ron's answer wasn't, he has an American passport. The judicial system in Romania, which I know absolutely nothing about, decided to let him fly, and he's flown to his home country. As far as we're concerned, he's broken no laws. Instead, what he did was say, we're going to get our attorney general to try and find some laws he's broken and wreck this man who's done nothing inside of the United States ever. Isn't the whole point of democracy innocent until proven guilty? I've yet to even have a trial, let alone a conviction. I've never even been tried. After 3 years, I've never been to trial. All those times I'm walking in and out of court, I've never had a trial. And communism, as we've understood it and tried very hard to fight against for so long, the basic premise is that you find the man and then find the crime. Is that not exactly what Ron DeSantis just promised to all of his constituents? It's not, we've seen a crime, let's find the perpetrator. It's, we found a man, let's see if we can find a crime to pin on this man. Is that the American way? Is that democracy? Is that innocent until proven guilty? Now, I'm not afraid of it because I know I've done nothing wrong. But it's quite unusual and quite scary for me to land as an American citizen, expecting a hero's welcome after dealing with a foreign and complicated judicial process, and being told that now the American state is going to be set on me, trying its very best to lock me up here when I've done nothing wrong ever. This is communism in and of itself. I may as well fly back to Romania. This is incredible that I landed and the governor of Florida is like, don't worry, I told my attorney general to try and find things this man's done. Where did that even come
That's actually wild.
from? So I'm very, very disappointed in Ron. I think he did it because he caved under media pressure. And if he wants some media training, he can hit me up. There's no problem. If he wants training, Ron, there's a reason you lost the presidential election. There's a reason you got wrecked. If you want some training, come to me and I'll tell you. Your correct answer was, we have no information of crimes he's committed inside the United States. He has an American passport. We were not aware of his arrival, but it's not really our concern. He's an American citizen returning to his home country. If he breaks the law within Florida, he will be held accountable as well as any other person would be. And until that point, that's it. But instead, he just completely caved and folded. You know what's really interesting? The liberals, Soros, all these NGOs, the media, they understand something intrinsically that conservatives do not understand. In the conservative world, an accusation is the same as a conviction. which is why liberals are so effective. The liberals will accuse a conservative of something. They'll wrap-up smear them. Hello, Ron. Nancy Pelosi explained the wrap-up smear. She explained it herself. You can find the clip of her explaining. You get the media to repeat something so many times that that person's name becomes toxic. And then what that person says isn't significant anymore because of the accusations attributed to their name. Nancy Pelosi described how they do this to people.
Is this a clip?
Let's play it.
Go for it, Brown.
Hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody
about it openly
with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But
yeah, and shout out to Nancy Pelosi for saying that. It's like, trial by media. It's like, if you have, and let's just take me for example. Let's say they want to talk shit about me, RT, News Talk, Virgin Media. I mean, I'm not really right-wing or anything like that. I'm not very controversial or anything. But let's say, I said something stupid and they just wanted to just pin you. If they just repeated a lie about you over and over and over and over again, and they did a wrap-up smear, okay, he did this, that's him, on to the next person. I mean, that literally could be done quite easily by the mainstream news. So, yeah, that's why you have, media channels like myself and stuff to kind of counteract that. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to defend Tate. I like his motivational stuff. That's about as far as it goes. But it's interesting to see, as he is one of the most followed people in the world, it's interesting to see, now that he's back in the US, to see how they're going to try and label him and stuff. Well, let's see. I just like to see what's going on, guys. I'm just interested. I'm just curious, right?
Earth to Ron! Earth to Ron! Like, this is what they do. They demonize you in the media to the point where nobody will stand by you and your ideas are ignored because of what you're accused of. Right, this is exactly what they did to me. Ron fell for it. Instead of standing there and saying, we have no evidence of crimes, he has an American passport, it's innocent until proven guilty, I don't understand the Romanian system, what he did was collapse instantly and completely. And liberals know this. If you accuse a conservative of something on the other side, the conservatives cannibalize. An accusation is as bad as a conviction in the conservative circles.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, when you accuse somebody of something, that's kind of like, because if you're wrong, then you can be sued for slander. So how does that work, guys? And, you have a lot of different, accusations in the media, maybe in your own personal life, people talking shit about you, rumors and stuff. It can, you can be held liable for that, absolutely 100%. But it's an odd situation.
If you accuse a liberal of something, do you think the liberals care? Let me change it. If a liberal is convicted, if a liberal held a gun to a pregnant woman, if a liberal is a career criminal, they don't care. But our side, if you're accused of something, you're instantly cannibalized. Talk about the weakness in the conservative circle. We wonder why we've been getting our asses kicked by people who don't know what gender they are for years. Because all they have to do is point and lie. Put it in the news enough times, and they will take out our strongest soldiers. I was one of the strongest soldiers advocating for conservatism and helping men, especially young men, find their masculinity once again. So they just attacked me, and now who's against me? Liberals, yeah, and a whole bunch of conservatives are upset with me. Oh, but the media said. The media said, have you not been through COVID? Do you not remember what the media said about Trump? Hello, Nancy Pelosi just told you what they do, Ron. And he sat there and completely collapsed. I'm not offended, personally, and I'm not afraid of his AG, because I've done nothing wrong. And if you want to put me in jail in America, I'm not afraid of that either, because I've just accepted my fate. I'm public enemy number one. However, I actually truly see this. And Ron, this is not an insult. That was a competency test you failed. You failed a competency test as a leader. Trump didn't. They asked Trump questions, and he answered like a gangster. He answered like a man should answer. I don't know. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know the details of the Romanian system. He's not read my bullshit indictment. He's never spoken to me. He doesn't know. That's a correct professional answer.
Yeah, so Trump doesn't want to cast aspersions on people, and it seems like Ron DeSantis, kind of did that. People would think that this guy is a human, like if you just hop on any platform, you think that he's a human trafficker, although he hasn't been convicted yet. Like if you're accused of something that's, nowadays if you're accused of this, But then it turns into like, okay, I have a big channel. I can just accuse another YouTuber. Let's say I just accuse another Irish YouTuber, okay? Because a lot of Irish people watch my channel now. Let's say I accuse, I don't know, some other YouTuber like Jacksepticeye, some big massive YouTuber, and I say this guy did this, and it completely destroys his career. Like, it doesn't really, or let's say, yeah, he's going to trial for something. It's almost like he's already committed that, even though, like, you know, the judicial process might even prove him that he's innocent. So yeah, it seems a bit ludicrous.
I've never spoken.
I've never spoken to Donald Trump.
So how were you able to come to the States? I heard stories. One of them was, sorry for your loss of your grandmother. Yep. I heard the news. And, you know, where one part of the story is that they allowed you to come here for the loss of your family, that you're here. Another one is you're visiting because now you can. But which one is it? What's the reason why you're in the States?
I'll tell you why.
Please.
I'll tell you why, but I'm going to finish that point. When you do not know something, the most masculine thing you can say is, I don't know. Trump's like, I don't know. I don't know the details. I don't know. I'll look into it. Instead, Ron knew nothing and collapsed. So Ron failed a basic competency test. That's what I believe. I don't care what he said. I'm not scared of his AG. He failed a competency test. That's his problem and his burden. So that's my view on Ron.
But one thing I want to qualify this. You just made a commitment to helping him out with marketing if he says yes.
If he pays me.
You're open to it.
Look,
consulting.
Okay.
Look, I like money. If he'll pay me, I'll teach him how to deal with the media, because clearly he failed.
But all I'm saying is, if you commit to it, they may get a call for 2028. Just be ready for that. But
absolutely.
Yeah. So
if he can afford me, I'm very famous and I'm very important. So if he can afford me, if Ron can afford me, I'll help him out and I'll let him know the reason he failed. Because especially, and this is extremely important, and I don't think people actually understand how much subconscious judging that they go through all of the time. When you walk into a room, you're subconsciously judged all of the time.
Right.
And small little failures like that, even the people who hate me, even the people who dislike me and are happy he said something negative against me, if you're going to collapse in the face of the ABC or NBC and people who do nothing but lie and start splouting garbage which you know nothing about, how are you going to stand in front of Putin? How are you going to stand in front of Xi? Like, you failed a competency test. I don't believe he's fit to run a country anymore. Thank God he's not president. That's what I think after I saw that. I'm not scared of what he said. I just literally think he failed a competency test. Now let's talk about why I was allowed back in America. Well, the first thing is I have a passport.
Like I said, very, very convincing guy. Okay, this guy talks like it is convincing,
What he said, I just literally think he failed a competency test. Now let's talk about why I was allowed back in America. Well, the first thing is I have a passport. That's the first reason. Secondly, it's kind of amazing that I'm seen as the #1 fugitive. I have no criminal record anywhere on the planet. I have no criminal record in the UK. I have no criminal record in Romania. I've never been convicted. I've never been convicted of anything in America. I have no criminal record ever. If you go down to the mall in Miami and walk around, you're going to walk past 30% of people with convictions. You're going to walk around amongst criminals. I've never been convicted of anything ever. So it's amazing that I'm fugitive #1. That's the second point that's interesting. The third point, and this is what's kind of funny when they tie Trump into me being free. My case was dismissed in December under President Joe Biden. The judge ruled that there wasn't enough evidence for it to go to trial in December under Joe Biden. Then the standard operating procedure in Romania and every other sophisticated judicial system is there's no indictment in the court. It was rejected by the court to go to trial due to lack of evidence, or in fact, in our case, it wasn't even lack of evidence. It was falsified evidence. It was illegal evidence, which we can talk about.
Damn.
It was rejected, but for some reason our bail conditions were kept. And they were kept saying the prosecutor believes he might rewrite it and try again. Is this a judicial system? 2 years you keep me trapped in a country, you send an indictment to court, the court rejects it, and they keep you on bail so the prosecutor can spend another 2 years typing up garbage? Is this a judicial system? I ask all the Americans who are watching this, how much blood do you expect me to give to a foreign country's judicial system? I gave them 3 years of my life, my reputation, missed my grandmother's funeral, didn't see 2 of my children, lost my money, lost my house, lost my cars, sat there, went to court on time, every single time, and it got rejected by the court. And now I'm kept on bail. And eventually they release it and let me fly. Am I supposed to do what? How long am I supposed to sit there while this country decides to try and find charges on me? Have I not done enough? Have I not given enough to Romania? My bail conditions are that I have to return on the 23rd of March. And I'm going to make it very clear right now to everybody listening. I am going back. I'm going to fly back and obey my bail conditions. I'm not running from anything because I'm not a coward. But I find it completely flabbergasting that people are sitting there going, oh, Andrew, why did he leave Romania if he's innocent? I've been there 3 years dealing with this garbage, and I never went anywhere. Let's actually analyze this. Imagine in an American court they said to you, yeah, you're innocent. Yeah, there's not enough for trial, but you're still on bail. You still can't fly. You still can't go anywhere. We've sent it back to the prosecutor and told them to try again. How long will that take? As long as they want. Is that justice? I ask anybody, is that justice? Is that expected of me? It's absolutely insane. And all the people who are complaining about the fact I'm here have never been to Romania, don't know the Romanian system, don't know the Romanian judicial process. I've been through it for 3 years. I barely understand it. These people are sitting around talking about things when they don't even understand. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Another question, which is quite pertinent, I want to ask.
Pertinent.
I've seen a lot of idiots say, Andrew escaped Romania because it was corrupt. If it's corrupt when I get to leave, isn't it corrupt when they lock me up? Or no, it's not corrupt and they stick to the rules when they lock me up and destroy my life, but after 3 years without charges, when I'm allowed to leave, it's corruption. Think about the dichotomy of that. It's either one or the other. So people are just picking and choosing and doing anything they can because they don't like me. This has nothing to do with due process. These people don't respect...
I agree with that. I think people just hate this guy. You're going to hate some people. Some people hate flipping Trump. Some people hate Joe Biden. A lot of people in life just hate people for kind of, no reason, or maybe they see a clip on the internet talking shit about women, being misogynistic, talking shit, trolling, whatever, and then they say, oh, I hate this guy forever. That's fair enough, and you're allowed to do that. If you hate somebody, you are allowed to hate them. I mean, that's kind of fair enough, but, to say that he's done all these things without being convicted is anti-constitutional. Can we say that?
Due process. They don't care if I'm innocent or not. They just don't like me. Patrick, I have a feeling if I was fat and ugly, none of this would be happening in terms of the hate that I'm getting from the conservative type. But when you're like tall, brown, sexy, and rich. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nice protect. Yeah. Mine's got...
Dude, this guy, because obviously Patrick Bet-David's tall, rich as hell. He's worth hundreds of millions, billions. Okay.
Tall, brown, sexy, and rich. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nice protect. Yeah. Mine's got diamonds. When you're tall, brown, sexy, and rich, they just don't like you. Any conservative should be sitting here going, I don't agree with Tate, but due process, and he's not been charged. He's not guilty, so he's flying. It's normal. But they hate me so intrinsically. They hate me on a visceral level where they're saying, forget due process, forget the legality, forget the fact that the Romanian judicial system shouldn't be trusted, forget the fact he's given him 3 years of his life, forget all that. He's bad. Crazy.
By the way, when you say dismissed, Rob just pulled this up. As of March 3rd, the charges against Andrew Tate have not been dismissed. In December 2024, a Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. However, investigations into allegations of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group are ongoing.
Correct.
Is it still that? Is
correct.
that still
correct?
going?
So let me clarify. Correct. Absolutely. December 2024, my case was dismissed. The Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. That sounds like, procedural errors, no big deal. What if procedural errors are false translations? What if procedural errors are illegal wiretaps? What if procedural errors are not respecting my client attorney privilege? What if they spied on me when I was talking to my lawyer? What if they broke every single law in the Romanian constitution, which is what they did? Then they returned it to the prosecutor and said, do it all again. So here it says, it's still ongoing. Yeah, it was dismissed because the whole case is garbage, just as I described. They sent it back to the prosecutor, saying, we'll keep him locked up, we'll keep him here, here's 2 more years, try again. Is that justice? I'm asking a genuine question. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm living in the middle of it. As professional men, do you see that as justice? I beat my case, they lied and cheated the whole way through, they sent it back, and then they get to say, it's still ongoing because the case is open because we're going to do it again. Is that allowed?
So
I think in America, you're not allowed to do double jeopardy, so you're not allowed to accuse somebody twice of the same thing. That's how they caught O.J. Simpson. They accused him of murder once, and then he got off, and then you can never accuse him ever again. But they actually got him in jail for something else. They got him in jail for tax fraud or some shit like that, something like that. So I don't know if they're doing that to Tate in Europe. I don't think we have that in Europe.
So Romania's expecting you to be back by March 23rd.
Correct.
That's because of this.
No.
And did they allow you to leave purely for, what's the reason why they allow you to come to the States?
They allowed me to come to the States because in December my case was dismissed. In 99.9% of Romanian cases, that means the end of bail conditions.
Okay.
With me, they kept the bail conditions. They kept them for December. They kept them for January. They tried to keep them for February. And my lawyers made submissions to court, and we went in front of a judge, and we complained that this is unfair. And a judge said, okay, let him fly as long as he comes back once a month. And I said, I will respect the Romanian judicial system because I'm not running from anything, and I'm going to go back. Guys, anyone who's concerned about me running doesn't understand me. We got a direct order from the commander-in-chief. It was 3 words long. And it was fight, fight, fight. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to Romania. They may arrest me, may put me back in jail. I don't know what they're going to do. But I'm going to go back. I'm not running from any of this. I've never run from any of this. My bail conditions were lifted. I've been in Romania for a very long time. I felt like a holiday. I thought Ron was a good governor. I chose Florida. Turns out it's communist like the rest. But I'm here for a while. It's not. There's no huge conspiracy. There's no Trump pressure. There's none of these things. 3 years I gave the Romanian government. 3 years. And eventually they said, okay, you can go to your home country. They should have let me come here a long time ago. I should have been able to come here the whole time. The whole process, I should have been able to come here. I've never been convicted. Why wasn't I free to travel the whole last 3 years? That's the actual question Ron should be asking. Ron should stand up there, or anyone with a brain should stand up and say, okay, well, he's never been convicted. And the case keeps getting thrown out due to lack of evidence or falsified evidence and illegal evidence. Why couldn't he travel all this time? Why was he even stuck in Romania? Why did they even take my cars? Let's be professionals and ask pertinent questions here. Why did they steal my money? Why did they put me in jail? Why did they take all my cars? Why did they take my house? Why did they stop me seeing 2 of my children? Why couldn't I see my mother when she had a heart attack? Why couldn't I go to my grandmother's funeral? Why was my image slandered? Why was I locked in my house for a year and a half and I couldn't even leave the living room? Why was I there if there was not even enough evidence to ever go to trial ever?
They did that because, you know, he's the biggest person in the world in terms of TikTok and the internet stuff. Let's say YouTube, Twitter, X. They do that because they don't want you to be heard, you know. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way the game is.
Not a better question than why am I in America? To me, it seems to be. See, that's the question I would ask. Why have I even gone through any of this?
When you're too famous and you have too much pull in this world, I think they just want to pull you down. Like, you know, no matter how famous you get, you know, they want to pull you back down. You know, the people really in charge, let's say, whoever they are.
We can go deep down the rabbit hole, but I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd I have to report to the Romanians. But I'll tell you this, Soros and the European Union, which has become communist, have massive influence over there. And you have a huge power struggle between the American state and the Soros state. And there's 2 teams, and one of the teams wants me in jail for life. That's why I was dealing with all this.
So, but was there any help from Trump's camp to help you get here? Was there any influence there?
I have no idea.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
I mean, I would like to think from a positive perspective, I'd like to be optimistic and believe that Donald Trump saw this garbage and maybe asked some questions. I like that idea, but I don't know. I had no confirmation.
Right.
I have no idea. I don't know why. However, as a professional, which I am, I would argue if Kamala won, I'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. But so would Trump. And so would everyone else.
No
so would you.
There's no question.
So would you, and so would you.
Yeah.
So Trump won, and perhaps the Romanians said, oh, the boss is back. We can't do this anymore. That's possible. Did Trump fly to Romania with an AK? I doubt it. But things change. There's a new administration. All the Americans are being released. Why is no one complaining about the Americans that got released from Venezuela? No one's complaining about the Americans that got released from Russia. Americans are being released all around the world because we finally have a real president again. And I seem to be one of them. The Romanian state thought and said, the boss is back. We probably can't continue to fuck with this guy for no reason. We don't even have a case. As it stands right now, guess how many indictments are in court against me? 0. Not one. Not one.
Well, let me ask this one here with this situation here, that you're in the States. Can UK, because UK and US have an extradition, they have a law that I think came about, Rob, if you can pull it up, I think it's 03 or 07 or something like that. Can UK say now he's in the States, can UK and US's relationship with each other do anything to you? Is that a risk of yours? Is that a concern of yours or not at all?
I'm tall, brown, rich, and sexy, so I have a strong suspicion that's one of the reasons the UK hates me so much. Because the UK is now a fallen nation. It's a completely communist country. You can't speak out. Isn't it interesting that not too long ago, America would talk about going to war and killing people for the idea of democracy and freedom? And now our allies, like the United Kingdom, will lock people up for tweets. Or even worse, Trump and Vance will put Zelensky in his place, which needed to be done, And then our allies will invite him over the next day and hug him and shake hands and promise him money.
How do you feel about that?
What I feel like is that they're not even our allies anymore. That's snakery. You insult, if my brother puts you in your place and I come up behind his back and offer you money, am I my brother's brother? Is that how it works?
No. Nope.
So now we're talking about the UK government. We can go long and deep into the state of the United Kingdom because every single person I know with money is leaving. Why does the UK want to lock me up? Because I'm seen as a symbol of resistance against their communism. That's why they hate me. They hate me because I teach young men to think for themselves. That's why they hate me. Because the UK's fallen due to a lack of masculinity, which is what I promote. That's why they hate me. Are they going to try and get me? Probably. If I go to UK, will I ever get out? Probably not. Am I afraid of them? No. Because I don't operate from a realm of fear. We had a 3-word instruction from the commander-in-chief. So if I have to go to the UK and fight them, I'm going to do that too. Until then, I'm on the PBD podcast. I don't know what they're going to try and do. All I know is I don't trust them. And I don't think any American who understands how the world's currently operating trusts the UK government with anything. Do you? Would you trust yourself to have a fair trial in the British court?
In UK?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So
Zero.
it's a setup.
No.
It's an absolute
Not in
setup.
UK.
Why did the UK even come for me? Once again, I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd of March, I'm going to be walking into the jaws of a tiger. But I can tell you this. The UK Foreign Office was heavily involved in my entire persecution in Romania. From the first day. They didn't get involved later. From the beginning, before it even happened, the UK Foreign Office was saying, this man is a problem. We're talking about him in Parliament. He's a big problem in our schools. He's a big problem on the internet. He's a problem. Can't you take him off the internet? Can't you make him go away? That was the UK Foreign Office. When I got released from Romanian jail, then I got released from house arrest, all of a sudden, Britain trumps up charges from 2009. Supposedly in 2009, I attacked some girl. And I was arrested again for 24 hours. I don't know if you guys remember. And I sat there for 24 hours. I was like, okay, wait. Who? When? Can't tell you that. So you're saying in 2009, I attacked a girl? Yes. Who? Doesn't say. When? Doesn't say. Where? Doesn't say. Just says 2009, you attacked a girl. By coincidence, Tristan also, 2009, attacked a girl. Where? When? Who? Don't know. 2009, you both attacked girls. No details. We made it up. Extradite. Thank God the Romanian state said no.
That's real? That really happened? 2009. 2009. Hold up a sec, guys. 2009. That's quite a long time ago. 2009. Take away 2025. 16, 15 years ago.
There's not even evidence. You can't extradite with this. There's nothing that doesn't mean anything. So the UK state started trying to get us when Romania started to fail. UK's lost its mind. UK will look at the violence against women and then start saying my name. Oh, this is because of misogyny. Andrew Tate did this. No, what did this is a lack of a border, unchecked migration, thousands of people coming over from the third world each day on dinghies who have no jobs and loiter around in the streets. That's why women are not safe in London anymore. Nothing to do with me. They know it's nothing to do with me. I'm their fall guy. I'm their fall guy for everything. Soon as
Damn, dude, this is the most insane live stream I've ever done. This is just absolutely wild. I don't know if it's entirely. I think that people on the right, love to blame, unchecked immigration. Obviously, there's a certain level that is going to happen everywhere, but unchecked people and stuff, people without passports, people without, criminal backgrounds and stuff. That's, it definitely doesn't help the situation. But damn, that is actually unbelievable, man. Wow.
If anything goes wrong, they mention my name in the UK. I don't stand a chance in their courts. But am I afraid of them? No. Because I don't operate from a realm of fear. I need people at home. You know what? This whole circumstance has truly damaged my faith in humanity. COVID did the same. Before COVID, I really thought people were better than that. But when I log onto Twitter and someone's like, Andrew Tate's accused of, I can accuse a ham fucking sandwich. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything what you're accused of. It matters what you're found guilty of. And then you have to argue about the legitimacy of the court. Because there's people in America who are getting wrecked by courts. That's America. Imagine, please, is there any better sign of my innocence than the fact I won fair and square in a Romanian court under the Biden admin? Is that not the best possible badge I can wear? When Biden was president in a Romanian court, I beat my case. And they'll still sit there and go, oh, but he's guilty. Did I say some stupid things on the internet 12 years ago? Yes. But I also said I'm an astronaut. And guess what? Elon's not calling. So,
Dude, this dude is outrageous.
but I also said I'm an astronaut. And guess what? Elon's not calling. So it doesn't matter. It's not. You need a victim. You need you need proof. You can't say he said one stupid thing on the internet 12 years ago. Anyone who believes that's a criminal case is a dumbass. So here we are. You talk about Great Britain, they're after me. Romania's still after me. Ron DeSantis is after me. Aliens are probably after me. I don't know what to do. I'm just a man. But, you know, we're tall, brown, rich, and sexy. We're doing our best.
How did it feel?
Tall, white. That's about as far as I go. That's about as far as I can go. Tall, white guy. That's me. But, yeah, dude, like, it just seems like people don't want proof anymore. They just want to believe what they want to believe. I'm not saying Tate is innocent, you know, definitely not saying that. I don't know that. You know, you can't defend anybody on the internet. I don't know these people from a can of paint. Just reacting to this because it's obviously the biggest thing in the flipping world right now on the internet. But yeah, it's a wild one. You know, there needs to be proof to some degree, which I'm sure they have a little bit of proof of, or else there wouldn't be a trial, or at least there wouldn't be accusations. But I want to see a trial or something, you know.
When you landed, you haven't been here for 6 years. What was that feeling like when you guys landed in the state? You were born here in D.C. What did that feel like?
You know, it's amazing because we were supposed to have Wi-Fi on our jet. No one knew we were leaving. We get in the air, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, of course. So we had no idea about the fanfare. So we landed and Tristan's phone starts working. And then he says, wow, it seems people are very interested. It seems like this is a big, big, big story. I didn't expect it to be this big. And I said, yeah, it is a big story. I'm kind of surprised as well. I didn't think anybody would even really care that much. And Tristan said to me, he goes, better this than nobody caring at all. And this is a very interesting...
That's a... if you guys read Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power, you know, because I want to motivate people as well. He says in the book, you know, get attention by any means possible. Better people know you than they don't know you. The worst thing in the world you can be is a complete nobody, guys. You understand? It's true. And yeah, the fact that he's going to America, let me just talk about that. Just going to the USA is just legendary. I don't know, the feeling you get when you're there just seems almost surreal, you know. I've been to Canada. Canada, you get that feeling a little bit, but not really. When you actually go to America, it is a wild place, man.
Said to me, he goes, better this than nobody caring at all. And this is a very interesting point that my haters don't understand. Because I get so many of these conservative dorks, and they are dorks, these nerds. Andrew Tate's a bad guy, blah, 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 blah.
I agree. A lot of people in the past that just are obsessed with Trump and stuff, I'm just not for that at all, guys. Like, they just, you know, suck off Trump at any moment they get. They wear the MAGA hat. It's like, dude, you know, not every single person is flipping, you know, is everything they say is 100% correct. It's just lame, man. Like, honestly, like, they're super conservative. It's just like, dude, like, just relax. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys that are just obsessed with Trump, and it's just like, oh man, I knew this one guy. Just an absolute loser. And it's just like, you know, people can make mistakes. People can do wrongs. And you have to point that out, guys. You know, you can't just be 100% for anybody, you know. And not everybody's perfect either. But it's like, yeah, you know.
And they are dorks, these nerds. Andrew Tate's a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Crying about me all of the time is the reason my brand is so big. It takes hot and cold air to make a tornado. And there's nothing more feminine than sitting there as a conservative influencer. I'm a conservative influencer, and he's so dangerous, and he's so bad, he's so scary.
True.
You sound like a girl. You sound like a girl. It's gay. They made...
Once you start getting hate on the internet, the money just starts rolling in. That's what happened for me. As soon as people started watching my political videos and getting hate, the money just started stacking up. So, you know, keep hating, bro. I love it.
It's gay. They make me sound like a mafia boss all the time. Which is why young men go, well, do I want to be like the big boss who everyone talks about? Or do I want to be like this dude who talks about being afraid on his Twitter?
This is so true. Like, people put like these labels. I hear people talk about, don't talk about Andrew Tate, don't talk about Trump. I just see them as people. I don't even see them. I don't think that extreme at all. I'm just like, this guy's a regular guy. I'm like, I'm not afraid of Andrew Tate, or, you know, I'm not like this like scared little wimp guy that goes around like, oh, don't talk about this guy. I'll talk about anything. A real man hates nobody. Okay, a real man hates nobody from their past or anything, no matter what they've done to you. Real man hates nobody, guys. What did the Lord say? They said in the Bible, if you have hate in your heart, if you have grudges against people, you're not going to enter the kingdom. What does that mean, guys? Don't hold grudges against people, you know, stuff like that. So it's just like, dude, like, I don't know what the vitriol is for these people. It's just like, they're more obsessed, the haters are more obsessed with hate than I am, you know, in terms of my watching him for motivation. You know, I have some friends that are big fans of Tate, and it's like, they're not even obsessed than the haters. It's just like, dude, it's crazy. I don't understand the hate for Trump, and it's just crazy, man. I don't understand.
My haters can't stop mentioning me. I didn't tweet for all that.
The haters mention them more than anyone. I haven't heard about Tate for the last 6 months, really. I didn't make a video about it. And then I'm like, oh, the haters are going crazy. Now let me just react to some of his shit.
That time, because I didn't need to. The whole Twitter was me. I don't need to tweet. I just need to breathe, and they talk about me.
Yeah, so, it's so odd, man. It's like Trump, too. It's like, I don't see Trump as any different than Joe Biden or any of these people. It's just like, the hate is what pushes them to a next level. If people just ignored people, like, if you just ignore people, they just don't grow bigger. But when you have hate and you have all this crazy stuff, it's just like they just grow bigger and bigger, you know, in the, you know, stratosphere of the flipping, you know, the internet.
So they give me so much unlimited energy. If my haters had a brain, they'd stop talking about me, but they can't.
Yeah.
They can't.
Dude, I just don't talk about people. Like, if you absolutely hate people, you know, don't mention their name. Like, don't just, you know, talk about it in passing. It's just like, because, you know, you kind of make them more bigger in the world than they should be, right? It's just a crazy thing. If you hate Tate, just don't talk about him. I don't talk about people that I hate. You know what I mean?
So when I land and all these haters and senators and Ron and everyone's having a mental breakdown, I kind of just sit in the middle of it like, well, I mean, I guess I'm the main character, I guess. I mean, what am I supposed to do with it all? But you're asking how I feel. It's kind of interesting because it was such a whirlwind, and it's still such a whirlwind now, and I know I have to go back in a few weeks. No feelings have really come to light as of yet. I don't feel any. No, I don't feel relieved.
Reminisce, family, memories. You and Tristan by yourself. Hey, man, this is kind of cool. 6 years, nothing.
There is an element of that, but how do I say this without sounding psychotic? Let me try and not to sound crazy because my haters have enough ammo. Let me try not to sound psychotic. Part of me will be disappointed if I don't go to Romanian jail. And I know this sounds nuts. Maybe this is a coping mechanism. I don't know. We can all talk psychology. When you're a man and every single government in the world is after you, maybe you cope by thinking, well, if they do win, I'll get a cool story. Maybe that's coping. I'm being honest now. We can talk to Dr. Phil. Call Dr. Phil. I don't know. But I was so certain that we were cooked. I was like, no one beats these people. You can't beat this. This is a fucking setup. And they're going to rig the next election like they rigged 2020, and they're going to set us up, and we're done. We're toast. I was so certain I was cooked. I kind of, in my mind, was like, oh, I'm cooked. And now I'm not cooked. I'm like, well, I don't deserve to be cooked, which is good. But it's a very strange feeling. I just hadn't prepared for it. I don't know what else to say. It's really weird. It's really weird. But I was disappointed by my welcome. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to train Ron. We're going to be okay.
Tate, we've interviewed you a few times, but you sound angrier than ever. Is that your resounding emotion right now?
You know, I said this on the plane to Tristan, and I said that him and I, truthfully, if I think and if I analyze, one of the reasons why our haters hate us so much, and it must be very frustrating to dislike us, because in the end, we always just seem to win. It must be very frustrating to hate us, and then no matter what happens, no matter how many times they think we've got this guy banged to rights, look, 4 criminal cases in Romania, 2 criminal cases in England. He can't fly. He's done. Here's an old video he's explained 1,000 times. Let's retweet that. Look, we've got him. He's toast. No one will talk to him. The governor hates him. And then I'm on a jet. Boom, bang, ha, PPD, woo. They must hate me. I get it, right? And then you can talk about, you know, if this is the universe, if this is your own hard work, if you're divinely protected, if it's fate, all of these things. But for some reason, I seem to be very competent and very lucky. And when you're both of those things, vengeance crosses your mind quite often because you know that it's easy to be vengeful because you know if you talk, you could easily get retribution against the people who have wronged you. But I don't want to be a vengeful person. And I don't want to go out on a path of vengeance. However, I do think that justice and balance are important in the universe. I do think that the moral arc of the universe should bend towards justice. I do think the people who have lied, I do think the people who have done wrong things, I do think the people who have decided to destroy my life should face justice. I don't think that's vengeance. I think that's balance. So for that reason, you say it's anger. I would call it potential energy, which is stored, which will be directed towards justice. I'm not looking for vengeance. I'm not looking for revenge. All I want is the world to be fair. Don't we all want the world to be fair? I expect a fair trial, and I expect my enemies to have a fair trial. Unlike my enemies, who are praying I do not have a fair trial, I don't want that. I want my enemies to have a fair trial, just as I will, because I know I will walk and they will not.
Tate, let me ask you this. By the way, if you're watching this, again, we got 80,000 people in the room right now live watching. Share it with as many people.
80,000 people. I have 20 people, 21 people. Appreciate that. Not 80,000 yet. We'll get there one day, but 20 is not too bad, guys. I really appreciate the love and support.
People as possible. We're going to be going. We got a lot more topics to be talking about. We don't know if we'll stay on. Share it with folks. Question for you: If I wanted to find out what my audience looks like, and I were to bring it down to 100 people, and I said, okay, let me take all the followers and let's just say they're in a room together. What do they look like? I'm like, okay, 62% business owners. Cool. 3.8% Middle Eastern. Great. Politics, family, kids, finance. Got it. If I was to go in the room and bring it down to 100 people out of your tens of millions of followers that you have, what do you think your followers look like?
It's a good question. A lot of people would expect it to be explicitly only male, but it's certainly not. I get a lot of support from females as well. So I would say it's 90% male, 16 to 30, usually younger guys, but all the older guys know who I am as well. It's
my subscriber base is 75% male and 25% female on YouTube, or 30% female. I don't know how the hell, something like that. But I react to a lot of K-pop and stuff.
Pretty well spread across the world. It's pretty international. I get letters and support from Mongolia and Thailand and Singapore and Australia and absolutely everywhere, not just the Western world. And then there's a huge contingent also of females who support me. Traditionally, Republican females, or I've had a lot of letters, and when I say a lot, I mean hundreds of letters from women in Tennessee or Kentucky or Alabama who are raising their sons without a father, and they say that I help them teach their boys how to be men. I have a lot of support in the Arab world as well, a lot of support from the Middle East. So what's really interesting, I've never actually encountered any kind of negative interactions in person ever besides media. Most people seem to like me. In real life, I've never had anybody say anything negative to me in real life ever. Wow. Ever once, ever. Male or female.
Neither have I. In terms of the YouTube stuff, right? Obviously, I've been in beefs and stuff before, and fights and shit like that, but mostly verbal and stuff. But yeah, it's funny. Like, people think that you get a lot of hate on the internet, but it's mostly just love, man. Everyone I meet, just that knows about the channel, seems to like the shit. Honestly, I've never had ever person ever say anything negative. You know what I mean? Unless it was like old friends, they're just like haters and shit. I don't talk to them anymore because they're just jealous, of the support that you get. But anyone that runs any sort of media or any sort of like personal training or Instagram, they know what I'm talking about as well.
Ever. Lots of women come up and ask for photos. Lots of the beautiful Instagram girls, all the guys are DMing or chasing me. So it's quite a diverse audience that I have. But primarily because I think I make young men feel motivated. Those are the ones who are most engaged with my content, 16 to 30-year-old males.
Yeah, it's just motivation. It's just the same as like Wes Watson. You have David Goggins. I'm not putting them all in the same group, but it's all the same sort of male motivation, masculine motivation. That's how I look at Tate. I don't look at Tate as this crazy guy. I'm not pro him or against him. I'm just like, he's just an anatomical guy that just posts motivation and talks really well. You know what I mean? And talking really well is, the most important thing you can do in 2025, guys, honestly. And be professional,
Okay.
All around.
And be jacked. And have money. Those 4 things.
On the world.
So do you think obviously, I don't think any of them would be liberals. Is that fair to say? A very small percentage would be liberals.
Correct.
Okay. And a big percentage of them would be conservatives, libertarians, driven, moneymakers, competitive business owners, sales. Some of them would be that, right? Yep. Okay. So this is the part with what some people say about you. DeSantis we already covered, so we can skip DeSantis because you were very direct with DeSantis.
My friend Ron.
Right, that's right. Your friend Ron, you're going to be his CMO to help him with his campaign for 2020, which was
if he can afford
very kind of you. Dave Portnoy. Here's Dave Portnoy, who is a Trump supporter. He's had Trump on. He actually did a good interview with him.
Interesting.
He's got a right-leaning audience.
Yep.
He says, what's the point of booting out illegals and criminals while somehow becoming a safe haven for the Tate brothers? That's one.
Safe
Two,
haven.
Ben Shapiro, okay? You know who he is. You and Ben, good friends. You guys, I'm sure you have had dinner already since you've been here. Because
Let's do one by one.
Okay, so let's do Dave. So
Let's do Dave.
Go with Dave. What do you say to Dave? Dave's a guy that's done well for himself. What do you say to him?
I've spoken to him once on a podcast, and I said women couldn't drive, and the face of horror he pulled. I don't know if he was because he was afraid of his audience, and he was like, look, I love women drivers.
Is this the one about the IQ stuff that you guys talked about?
We did a
I remember
podcast
that.
once. I said
remember
women
that.
couldn't
Yeah.
drive, and he pulled this fake face of horror because I guess he's afraid of being canceled.
Right.
It was on a Zoom. It was a girl on it,
Yeah,
another guy.
it says
Yeah,
everything you need to
remember.
know about Dave. I don't know much about Dave. I don't know. I see videos of him jumping up and down about sports teams, and he's 47 with no children and smokes weed. That's what I know.
Ooh, 47 smoking weed with no children. I mean, he's worth probably $1 billion, like Dave Portnoy. But Dave Portnoy is one of those guys that is just an average guy, super average guy, right? In terms of, now he's like ultra famous.
He dislikes me. A lot of these conservatives who dislike me for the key reason that I am the hero they want to be. They know I'm the hero of the masculine youth, and they want to be the hero of the masculine youth. Like, why doesn't all the young boys look up to me? All the young men look up to Andrew. They should look up to me. I'm a conservative. I'm a tough guy. No, you're not. I don't know enough about Dave to truly say why he has the point of view he has. I would put it down to jealousy because I'm big, tall, brown, sexy.
I think that's what it is.
They're all jealous, guys. That's what I say, man. Unfortunately, that's what it is, guys. It's all jealousy, projection, shit. It is what it is, man. You know what I mean? If you guys hate people, it's probably because you're jealous of them, and you want to be like them, and you can't be like them, guys. Shit, man. When I was younger, I was never a jealous guy ever, which thank God. But if I was, that would be the reason for it. Honestly.
Patek.
Patek.
Yeah, with
It's a
diamonds.
Patek
Don't
thing.
forget the diamonds.
It's a Patek thing, but I've got diamonds on mine.
Listen, I think Dave can afford the Patek. I just wonder what, for him saying something like that. Let's go to Shapiro. Shapiro says,
But before we move on from Dave, but this is the thing that's so important. If I was my enemy, I wouldn't talk about me.
Yeah.
But my enemies are so obsessed with giving me unlimited energy. I don't
true.
tweet about Dave. I don't care about him getting excited over a sports team and masturbating when he's high on weed. I don't give a shit that he has no children and he's sitting around alone. I don't care about Dave. But he seems to care about me. I truly have a worldview, and this is an actual genuine belief of mine. And it can't be explained by science, but I guarantee you it's true. If there's enough human beings out in the world consuming calories, they're doing whatever they have to do. They're going to work, and they're trying hard to find money to buy food, to eat calories, to stay alive. And they're converting those calories into my name, either by typing it or thinking about me, negative or positive. That is orgons, a word I've just made up. Orgons.
I'm like Googling it right now.
Into the universe, out into the world, which I absorb. Why am I so lucky? Why are my arms so big? How come I have so much money? Because there's all these millions of people around the world who cannot stop putting Andrew Tate orgons into the atmosphere. So Dave has just paid me. Thank you, Dave. But
I think the same thing too, guys. The more people that hate me, the more fuel it is. I love it, man. The past haters and stuff, they used to talk shit and stuff. I flipping love it, man. I love it. They hated me because I had like 2,000 subscribers. Now I have 110. They're gonna be ultra mad when I have 210. So it is what it is, guys. I mean, it just is what it is, man. People just want to be hating. It's just, dude, let them hate, man. Let them hate. Let the money stack up. What did 50 Cent say? Let the money stack. Disregard everyone, man. 50 is a legend, man. And yeah, man, they just want to hate on everyone. Keep it going, bro. We're getting paid. And they're just complete nobodies. They're mad because, you're making money off your name. They don't have a name. I mean, it is what it is, bro. Like straight up, it is what it is.
after this little splurt, I promise you, the chance of me ever considering him as a human being ever again is fucking zero.
Really?
I don't give a fuck about Dave Portnoy. I couldn't care less.
Wow. Okay. What's this one here, by the way, Rob?
I mean, I agree. Like, why would you even care about the haters? I mean,
that's Dave Portnoy. This is
okay.
Ben Shapiro.
Let's go to Shapiro. So,
little Ben. One second. One second. I'm Ben. Let me lower my chair. Let me lower my chair down.
Listen, I suggested the other day that you and Ben do podcasts together.
Listen, let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. I'm not even going to read Ben's crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, the only OnlyFans donates to AIPAC, which pays Ben So when he complains about anything to do with me helping girls optimize webcam profiles 12 years ago is absolutely hypocritical. He's taking money from OnlyFans today.
Yeah, so you understand what he's saying there. That's a big one, guys. Understand what he's saying. So OnlyFans donates to the organization that he's talking about. So, you know, yeah, it's actually this is a wild podcast.
He's taking money from OnlyFans as it stands.
Ben does OnlyFans videos?
Ben,
he could do. I don't know.
I'm sure for enough money he would. Midget
I
porn.
did not know that.
Midget porn. OnlyFans are paying APAC, which are paying him as it stands.
That's what you're
saying.
saying.
So anything about his pornography crap can go out the window. Anything about him complaining about my criminal charges, once again, due process out the window. I like to think, after what they just did to Trump. By the way, remember, Trump is convicted, and he's president, and nobody believes it. I'm not even convicted. And Trump was convicted in an American court, New York. Okay, you can barely call it American, but it's better than Romania. And I'm not even convicted. So he's our president we all respect and look up to. But me, with a lower barrier, who's been lower down the chain, they're going to pretend they're offended by for some reason. So what Ben does is say, Andrew's a criminal, and Andrew did pornography, even though he takes money from porn, and I'm not convicted. And he only does this because he's extremely small, and I'm extremely big, that's why he's upset. He's small and upset, and he's just going to have to sit over there and be small and upset.
All right, let's see what you're going to say about this next one, because this next one, she's got a lot of credibility. Megyn Kelly. I don't know if you saw what she said.
Who the hell is Megyn Kelly? These complete nobodies, guys. Like, no offense, Ben Shapiro. He's just somebody. But it's like Dave Portnoy, outside of America, outside of, like, frat parties in America, nobody knows who Dave Portnoy is. I had to ask my friends and family, not my family, I had to ask people on the internet, on YouTube, who the hell that guy was. Barstool Sports. I didn't know who that was till, like, 3 months ago. I'll be honest, guys. Dave Portnoy. I know people are like, well, he's more famous, he's more followers than you. Okay, I get that. I'm just saying, for a guy who's ultra famous, I didn't know who the hell he was. And I'm on YouTube 30 hours a day, you know what I mean? So
she said, and Megyn is a G. Megyn's very good at what she does.
Didn't know what she said.
Yeah, she came out and she, the Tampa Bay young Republicans said something about welcoming you and Tristan as a free speech absolutist. The Tates haven't been formally convicted of any crime. And we are welcome to speak to our group. He is welcome to speak. We are old enough to remember when a convicted felon won the presidency.
Absolutely.
Free state.
Absolutely.
She responds, you've lost your ways, boys.
Well, Megyn, I've never spoken to you in my life. I actually saw a few clips of yours. I thought that you were pretty good. I was a fan. You still can't drive. But it's fine. I mean, like, people are allowed... people are allowed...
Maybe driving classes.
People are allowed...
It's one is marketing, the other one...
Oh, man. You can't drive, Megyn, but you can have an opinion. It's a free country. You can have your opinion on me, and you can be offended by me for some reason. You can give me your orgons, Megyn. You can sit and you can eat your food and you can talk around the table about how Andrew Tate's a bad guy, and then one person out of the group will argue with you. Before you know it, there's all these long, hour-long conversations about Andrew Tate that I don't even know take place. I just seem to keep getting all these orgons from somewhere. Megyn Kelly's allowed an opinion on me. It's a free country, and I'm allowed an opinion on her. My opinion on her, from what I've seen, is pretty positive. But she can say whatever she wants. I'm not offended by it. I don't take it personally. I'm sure she may have seen some clips which are out of context, which we've discussed before and we'll discuss again, and they're never going to let drop, and we can talk about that. That's fine.
Would you speak with her?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't know me.
No, meaning, let's just say Megyn invites you. Would you speak with her? Would you do a show with her?
I would love it. And she'd sit me down, and she'd try a BBC-style hit piece, and she'd be very disappointed by how badly she gets wrecked. But I would happily wreck her, yeah. I'd happily destroy Megyn, sure. And I'd teach her to drive afterwards. And then we could be friends.
Listen, what a big heart you have.
I'm a nice man.
The idea
Megyn, I'm nice. Where's all this negative? I'm a nice guy.
Okay, do you know where I'm going with this? This is kind of where I'm going with this. The reason why I'm going with this is the following. I'm really trying to find out. Josh Hawley, respected guy. Okay, this guy's a respected guy. I don't think conservatives should be glorifying this guy at all. I certainly don't think that we should be using any influence in our government to try to get him out of what seem to be extremely serious charges in Romania. So I would hope that we weren't involved in any way. This is Josh Hawley.
Who's this?
Josh Hawley.
Sorry, wait. Who?
Rob, can you pull up his picture so he knows who Josh Hawley? Big YouTuber.
Who?
Pull him up. Josh Hawley.
Who?
This guy right here.
Oh, soy face.
By the way.
Fuck him.
Tate,
fuck him.
He is respected. He is respected.
Not by me.
He carries weight.
Not by me.
Okay. So...
Soy face.
Next.
In a serious conversation, why do you think some of these guys Megan's a family person. Josh, family person. Dave, fair. You want to say what you want to say about Dave? Single, doesn't have kids yet, all that other stuff.
I forgot, isn't it Dave who?
Dave Portnoy, right?
Sorry, I forgot.
You got Ben Shapiro, family guy. On the conservative
Ben
side.
Shapiro's not a family guy. Ben Shapiro's a midget warmonger who, if he got sent to war himself, would piss his little pants, sitting down and spending the last 10 years advocating for big, strong men to go die in ditches while he sits at home collecting money. Ben is a warmongering piece of shit. He's not a family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like warmongers, guys. People that advocate for war and stuff like that. You should be advocating for peace. You know?
Guy. Ben's actually a bad person. And I'm saying that genuinely. I don't usually have personal beef with people. Ben is a bad person.
Tell me why.
You don't need to know much about him. Look at his history during COVID. Look how he pushed for everyone who didn't take the vaccine to not be able to fly and leave their house. Look at all his warmongering. Every single war, he's desperate for people to go to war permanently all of the time. And then he sits there hypocritically and say, oh, yeah, Andrew Tate's accused and porn, while taking money from OnlyFans himself. He's just a bad person. Ben's just a bad person. That's the truth about Ben.
Okay, so that's your opinion. Stick to the family.
That's
guy.
a fact, sir.
Okay.
That's a fact, sir. That's a Diamond Patek fact.
Stick with conservative families, okay?
Sure.
Why do you think they have a challenge? What do you think it is? Purely with the values and principles. Because you talk about justice earlier. Justice is important to you, right? And I've watched you. I'm a family guy.
Yep.
I got I got a wife. I got 4 kids.
Yep.
I got 2 boys, 2
Only
girls.
4.
And listen, if I had it my way, I'd go to 20. Look, I'm sure you like seeing Elon having his 14th. I'm sure that for you is
We
kind of
don't understand each other. Let's put it at that. Let's leave it that way.
Yeah, but the point being, we've spent time, and we'll sit down and I say, yeah, that's just not my lifestyle.
Yep.
I would do it this way.
Yep.
Him and I don't see face to face here.
Yep.
We disagree here, but we get along.
Yeah.
We have a respectful conversation every single time.
Absolutely.
But why do you think some of the conservatives who are net positive to society, why do you think they have a problem with you?
Oh, I know that a lot of people have problems with me, and I completely understand why.
Specific to conservatives, though.
Well, the conservatives that have a problem with me see me as extreme, and they see me as degrading to the society, not understanding that in every single contingent and every single battalion, you need to have people who do different roles and do different things. I may be extreme, right? I may be seen as a rebel or an outlaw, or I may have extreme views or do extreme things. But I am extremely important in the battle against liberalism and the insanity and the communism of the world today. I may do a different job. Yeah, a sniper does something different than an assault troop, but we're all necessary. So they think that I'm not on their side because I don't live the same as them. But let's be honest, and I want to state this without arrogance. None of these people who were sitting at home, white picket fence, perfect upbringing, never had any of the terrible life I had, because I had a very hard life, never had any of the struggle I had, never had any of these things, who were criticizing me for my views and things I've done. None of those people moved the needle like I did. I was a cultural force. And I was a cultural force for the good guys. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but soldiers are not perfect. Warriors are not perfect. The special forces operators, every single Navy SEAL you can find has put a bullet in a kid's head, but he's doing it for his country. You can't be a good warrior if you're a perfect person. If I had no bad history, never swore, didn't know any women, and I sat at home and a white picket fence and I was completely legit and I'd done everything by the book, I wouldn't have the impact I have. The reason I can speak the way I speak is because I understand the struggles of young men, because I grew up in the poorest possible socioeconomic area in the UK. My finger came off, I was stabbed. I made money an illegitimate way. I managed to clean myself up, get up out the ghetto, clean things up, teach men how to be strong, how to be resilient. I have a life story. So these people see me as their enemy for some reason, not understanding that all of those elements that they don't like are the reason I am the force I am. If I had a perfect, easy little life, I've had it all the time from these conservatives. They're a pastor, and they live in Nebraska, and they married their first love, and they have a white picket fence, and they go to church every Sunday. Great, good for you. Guess what? Most men in the world don't care what you say, because there's no light without dark. And
Well, like most people in the world don't grow up with that. Everyone has some kind of struggle, whether it be money, that was probably ours. But, everyone has a struggle where you grow up in a really rough place. Thankfully I did not, but, there's other struggles, money, let's say you're overweight, you have struggles to addictions, drugs, weed, coke, stuff like that. Everyone has a struggle. That's why they can kind of more relate to people with the struggle than the guy that grows up, with the white picket fence and his family's perfect. And, it's just, not many people can relate to that, guys. Only really quite well-off people can relate to that story. Like, if you guys have rich friends or stuff, their dads own businesses and stuff, they're going to have a different they're gonna have a different life perspective than you or me. You know.
I have enough dark to bring the light. So you have to stop seeing me as your enemy because I don't live the same life you do. That's the reason I have the impact I have. I'm not going to apologize for being me. I'm not going to apologize for the circumstances I was born in either. I'm not going to apologize. You know, it's truly crazy. They say, oh, Andrew said this on video. He should go to jail. Didn't 50 Cent sing that he was a pimp? Why is he not in jail? He's...
Hey, we're bringing up 50 Cent. I just talked about 50 Cent.
There's a video of 50 Cent on YouTube saying he's a PIMP. Is he locked up? No. Videos aren't real, right? So none of this stuff is real. It's just YouTube garbage.
I always thought, I'll just be honest, I always thought Tate was like a troll. I always thought the dude was just like the ultimate troll. I never take any of the internet shit serious anyway. It's all like entertainment type of thing. You know?
And they take it and they pretend that I'm the one degrading society. Not the warmongers who are sending us into endless wars. Not the drug dealers who are pushing drugs. Not the liberals who are trying to chop your balls off. No, it's me. I'm the bad guy. You know, Kissinger. He's Kissinger, I believe.
Henry Kissinger, yeah.
He said a whole bunch of negative shit about me. Wasn't he pro-Iraq war? Wasn't he pro-war, Kissinger? I don't know the exact schematics of it. But there are literal warmongers. There are literal warmongers who are begging for people to be blown to pieces, then tweeting that I'm the bad guy. How the fuck does that make sense? So these conservatives need to really, truly identify who their enemy is, and it's not me. The reason they hate me so fervently, the reason they dislike me, is because I get the attention they wish they got.
What did Kissinger say about you?
Oh, something like I'm bad and I shouldn't. Something.
Kissinger's dead.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong name.
Adam Kissinger or the old Kissinger?
I don't know.
This is Adam Kinzinger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
Henry
Kissinger is dead. No,
I was gonna say Henry Kissinger is like a war general or some shit. He was like old.
I want to make sure
I don't know who
Kissinger
these
was
people
a
are.
very
Henry
heavyweight
Kissinger
guy.
was a
Well, he died at
former
23.
Which, by the way, you're right.
Yeah, Henry Kissinger was. What the hell was he? He was a United States Secretary. Yeah, he died. Oh, he only died recently. But yeah, he wasn't. He was like.
Kissinger was a guy that caused war a lot.
Oh,
but you may be talking about Adam Kinzinger.
Is he pro-war?
Adam Kinzinger is not going to be a fan of yours.
No, for sure
Okay,
not.
so let's be professionals. Can everyone stop being emotional and calm down? Let's be professionals. People, no.
I'm a professional. I'm a professional, Tate. All right, the professional. Okay, come on.
Let's be professionals. Can everyone stop being emotional and calm down? Let's be professionals. People, no.
We're the ones being emotional, Andrew.
No. To the conservative audience, the people who allowed you to be locked in your houses and lose your business and are sending your tax money abroad to fund endless wars and have murdered millions of people around the globe are saying, I'm the bad guy. The people who are on Epstein's Island, who own the media outlets, are saying, I'm the bad guy. And you're not mad at them, you're mad at me? Are you a moron? Like, are you stupid now at this point? This has been going on for 4 years with federal agencies from the USA, the UK, and Romania trying to pin me down, and they can't. Is that not proof of evidence? Is that not evidence of innocence? What more could you possibly ask? You take any one of these governors, senators, media outlet people, any of them, put them under the same scrutiny I've been under, and they'll all be locked up. Every single one, for corruption, for racketeering, for influencing, all of them. But me, I seem to walk every single case. And then the conservatives are getting psyoped into believing that I'm degrading society. Me. Not the media, not the fake news, not the transsexuals, not the drag queen story hours, not chopping your balls off, not sending our young men away to die in a ditch. No, me. Because what? I made a joke saying women can't drive?
Well, there seems to be
So-
a common thread with the conservatives, by the way. And it's, you kind of alluded to it by the pastor in Nebraska as an example. They're marrying their high school sweetheart, one woman, have sex with one woman, that's who you marry. Where you're viewed as a womanizer, and you proudly said this.
I wish.
But yet Elon Musk gets a pass.
Well, no, but this is the thing. I did a long 30-minute video on this exact subject, but I want to talk about this. In fact, let me put my sunglasses back on because I'm
And by the way,
I want to look cool. Let me look cool.
Damn.
I wish I could meet one woman in high school and fall in love with her. I wish I could. That sounds like a blessing, and I support them absolutely. But I didn't. I grew up.
Yeah, we're all been there, guys. We didn't fall in love with that girl that we met in school, unfortunately.
A different way, and I didn't. And truthfully, I have a different worldview. Now, we can go down this whole conversation, perhaps we should, but I did a long 30-minute video on Elon and his recent baby drama. And I was explaining that all the people who are insulting Elon don't seem to understand that at his economic bracket and at his capability and at his mental, with his challenges that he's facing, I don't know the guy personally, but I would argue that his primary interests are rockets in space and Tesla. He's probably not that interested in sitting around with girls and having date nights. He wants to do rockets and Tesla. So what does he need from females? Children. So that's what he does. Does he pay for them? Does he take care of them? Are they safe? Does he love them? Yes, but he has other concerns. This is the business of kings. That's what kings do. Progeny, sons, heirs, cool. Back to work. I understand Elon, absolutely. Trump does the same thing. He has 3 or 4 baby mothers. I don't know. This is the business of kings. If you have the financial capability to take care of 5 or 6 different women and they're all happy to birth your progeny, then you're going to have a whole bunch of children. This once again comes down to jealousy.
Why would people be against that, guys? You know, you can have kids with loads of people if you want. I mean, if that's your thing, right?
The pastor in Nebraska is jealous of me because I will always have more kids than him because I can bake more bread because I have more ovens. You can be mad. You can hate me for it. You can say I'm the bad guy. But my children are paid for. They're safe. Their women are paid for. Nobody's unhappy. Everybody's happy. That's the scenario that we're all in. It's my life decision. It's their life decision. And it's nothing to do with you. I don't criticize you making your decision, so don't criticize me making mine. That's the bottom line of it. But they're jealous I have more influence than them. I understand. But to sit there and pretend that it's a threat to society that I have a whole bunch of rich women living in mansions having children that we're all happy is garbage. There's much larger threats to society than that.
Just to specify, because if you're going to say this pastor from Nebraska, let's give him some love. Do you remember his name or no?
No.
His name is Pastor Shane Idleman. I think that's the guy.
I literally, you know what's funny? Maybe it was subconscious. Maybe I scrolled past it.
Is this the guy? Is this him?
You know what? Maybe it was subconscious and I scrolled past it because I made up pastor from Nebraska off the top of my head. So if there is one who hates me, if there is one who hates me, it proves that I have a pretty good feel on the demographic who hates me because
That's funny, yeah, because he didn't actually specify who it
I'm sure
was.
there is a pastor in Nebraska who's saying, Andrew Tate's the devil.
Well, if it's not him, he just got a shout out.
Bro, I mean,
It's true.
God bless, Pastor.
Guys, Elon's in the business of kings. He's trying to have progeny. My security team in 21 years from now will be my 10 sons. That will be my security team. I will make 10 sons, and they will be my security team. I have an objective to complete. Now, if a woman comes to me and says, Andrew, I'm better than the rest. I can grow a baby in a week. I'll say, all right, then. I'll be loyal to you. Done. There you go. If it takes 9 months to grow a baby, that's a skill issue. It's not my problem. I got work to do. So that's it. I'm very honest and open about this. Anyone who wants to attack me for it, that's their prerogative. But I'm not the enemy of civilization in the West. In fact, I would argue I was a large weapon in saving the West, in getting Trump elected, in waking men up, in fighting against the insanity. I would argue I've been on the good team for a very long time, and I have suffered for that. If any of these little pastors or any of these little conservative accounts had any actual influence over the needle or over society, they'd be in jail, or they would have caught a case. They didn't. Trump caught a case because he mattered. I caught a case because I mattered. J6ers got cases. That's what they do. Governments, the Matrix, when they're mad, they give you a case. If you're sitting there with your Twitter account going, I'm a conservative and I've been preaching conservative values for years, and I don't know why the boys like Andrew Tate and not me, because I go on long Sunday walks, and why don't they look up to me? I wish I was famous. You didn't catch a case because nobody gives a fuck what you say. Your ability to speak freely is directly correlated to your insignificance. If you are important and people listen, you cannot speak freely. Even now, there's a whole bunch of things I want to say that I cannot say. So I was attacked for my capability in the war against these people. That's what I was attacked for. And anybody who hates me, who hasn't caught a case, with respect, you don't matter. Even our enemy don't think you matter. You can be mad at me all you want. Think about this. We're all charging at the guns. We're all charging at the machine guns, and every single enemy machine gunner is saying, look at that guy, that's Tate, shoot him. If he gets to our trench, we're fucked. Shoot him. What about him? He's a pastor from Nebraska. Don't shoot him. Let him run. He can get here. Nothing will happen.
Very interesting metaphor.
They don't have no power. They have no influence. They have no capability. So they're mad at me. And they try to pretend I'm the bad guy. I'm not the bad guy. I just beat you. I'm just better than you.
You say that having children is the business of kings, right?
Correct.
So I don't know how many you have. Elon's at 14. I don't know if you're trying to compete with him. Pat has 4. And he's very loudly and proudly said he'd have 20 if he could.
Yep.
What I want to understand is the role of a father. We see basically the decline in civilization right now, especially in America, about the lack of fathers in homes. We talked about the African-American community. How often should a father be with their child? And I'd love to get PBD's opinion on this, because it would seem to me he's way more hands-on with his children than you. So how do you grapple with that?
Interesting question. And I would say that instead of just talking about fatherhood, let's talk about masculinity in men as a whole, because depending how competent you are as a man depends how potent you are with your time. So before I apply this to fatherhood, I'm going to apply it to something else. If you are a man who works in Starbucks and you're not that interesting and you're not that successful, for you to have a woman to be loyal to you, you need to be next to her all day, every day. You need to hold her hand, and you need to be with her every night. And you have to come home every day, and you have to talk to her all the time and text her all the time, etc. If you're one of the most famous, important, rich men in the world, you can talk to a girl an hour a day or 20 minutes a day, and you can see her once a month, and she'll be loyal to you.
Damn, dude, this is like game for days. Like, this is like player game.
Why? Because of the potency of the man, the capability of the man. It's like most things, right? You need less potent alcohol than you do need a whole bunch of weak alcohol. And I would argue it's the same with fatherhood. I think the best fathers are so busy getting things done that, yes, they see their children. And I see my children all of the time. I see a different child every single day. So I'm with my kids 2 or 3 times a week, all of them. But I'm so busy getting things done that I can't be with them all the time. It's true. I argue that would be offset by the fact that I am who I am. If I meet an average person on the street, someone I've never even met, and they say, I watched your videos, you changed my whole life, and I meet them for 5 minutes, and I shake their hand, it becomes their story for the week. I can have an influence on people quickly because I'm potent, and it's the same with my children. My father raised me that way. My dad could be home an hour a week because he was my dad. Now, there's other dads who'd say, you're a bad dad, I'm home all the time. You're a couch potato. You ain't raising your son being a couch potato. You may be there, but you have no impact because you don't matter. I have stories to tell. I'm fighting the Matrix. I'm interesting. So I would argue, same with Elon. Let's apply it to Elon. Anyone who says Elon can't be a good father because he has so many kids is an idiot. You think Elon, with his influence and his brain and his capabilities and his achievements, can't see his children for a few hours and make a massive impact on them? You think his children aren't going to grow up and know that his dad is the first person to colonize Mars and be proud of his last name? Of course they will. Of course. If you want to be a couch potato and sit at home and have no stories to tell and no capabilities and think that makes you a better father, well, then you're just an idiot. And you're not even raising your kids because YouTube's raising your kids or the school's raising your kids. You're sitting there jerking off to porn and watching fucking sports with Dave fucking, what's his name?
Portnoy.
Dumbass. Dave Dumbass. You're jerking off over porn. So these people aren't better fathers than me. That's an attack vector they're going to use against me. Of course. I'm not saying I don't see my children. I'm saying they don't matter. I'm saying that I believe with my financial capability and with my achievements, I can have a whole bunch of children. I can put them all on private jets in and out and see all 10 in a day if I need to. And I believe I have a large enough impact on them. My children listen to me and they respect me and their mothers are happy. That's my view.
You're saying quality time is way more important than quantity of time.
I'm saying your capability of a man as a man in all realms, your capability as a man.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You know, the better man you are, the more important man, the more educated man you are, the stronger man you are, the flipping richer you are. Like, that matters more to your kids than, just, spending time with them. Spending time with them actually does matter as well. I definitely agree with that. But, anything more than a few hours a day, it just gets asinine after that point. You know what I mean? If you're with your kids all day long, that's not going to help them either. They have to go off and experience shit as well in this world, but
reduces the amount of time you need to spend there. Look at a CEO. A CEO can spend an hour a week in a business. He's the CEO. Mm-hmm. It's different than if you're a normal guy. You got to be there all the time. I believe that potency as an individual allows you to speed run things. You can speed run fatherhood. You can speed run being a boss. These CEOs who have 20 companies, and they just turn up once a month because he's the boss. It matters when he's there. And it's the same with me being a father.
PBD, is this something you agree with right here? Because you spend a lot of time with your family.
Which is a good thing. By the way, that's a fantastic thing. And there's nothing that makes me happier than being with my family and my children. I just have a bunch of them.
Yeah, but let me tell you on what he's saying, a part of it for me, I wrote 4 things down. Mm-hmm. Intentionality as a father, if you're intentional. One day my dad, before I'm having kids, I'm having a conversation with him. I'm like, listen, for many years, I saw you once a week. I calculated how many days I saw my dad from the day I was born till I was 18 years old. It was like 500 days.
Really?
I only saw him 500 days. It was once a week. And then when my parents got a divorce, in Germany, I never saw him. Never even talked to him once for 18 months. And when I came here, they got a divorce. I saw him once every other week for 1 day. So you're talking about what? 26 days a year. 26 days a year for 5 years. Do the math. I've seen the guy 500 days from 0 to 18. He's my hero. He lives with us, right? I asked him, I said, do you regret any of it? He said, not at all. I said, why not? I said, look at the man you are today. You're independent.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
You're a leader. You're all this other stuff. But let me tell you something here that I think Vinny and Adam, you guys are going to get emotional when I play this clip. Have you seen what Gene Hackman said about his father?
No.
Gene Hackman just died at 95 years old. Nominated for 5 movies, 5 Oscars, right? I think he won 2 of them. Phenomenal actor. I don't think anybody disputes how great of an actor he was. His house, where one time at Pebble Beach, the guy says, that's Gene Hackman's $30 million house. This is like 12 years ago. He's asked here about his father. In this interview, he's 78 years old. Wow. I want you, by the way, did you even know I was going to play this clip? Rob, did you show him the clip or they haven't seen the clip?
Who's 78?
So Gene Hackman died at 95. This is him at 78. This
17
is
years ago,
17 years ago. The interviewer is a great interview. This Insider Actor Studio does a great job. He asks him about his dad who walked away at 13 years old. Look how this 78-year-old alpha winner reacts to that question. Go ahead, Rob.
How old were you when your father left?
Well, my dad left us when I was about 13, I guess.
Was it easy, hard?
No, it was tough.
Tough. I've read that there was a sort of casual wave goodbye.
Yeah, I was down the street playing with some guys, and he drove by and kind of waved, and
that was it. But you saw him occasionally, presumably, huh? Were you close to your mother?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Did life change radically?
It's only been 65 years or so.
Wow.
Still affects them at 71.
That pause, I know that he pictured that moment with his friends and his dad just going, peace out.
And that's beautiful. And I'm about to cry now because I miss my father every single day. But I haven't left my children, and I will never leave my children, and I'm there for my children. And you said a very important word there. You said intentionality. I think that's important because if my sons come over for 2 days, for those 2 days is very intentional parenting. It's very focused. It's very directed. I would argue that Andrew Tate, for 2 days, focused and directed, will be a better influence on boys than 12 hours a day, every day for most of these normal dudes sitting around on the couch ignoring their kids. So we have to also keep in mind intentionality and potency. And we also have to keep in mind financial capability. Elon can raise 14 children. He can simply afford it. I can simply afford to have 14 kids. These kids are not abandoned in any way. I speak to them on the phone every single day. I see them all the time, 2, 3, 4 times a week. So this is just another attack vector that's used against me because, you know, it's hard to call me stupid and it's hard to call me broke and it's hard to call me unsuccessful. So the easiest attack vector on me is to call me a bad person. So they simply say Andrew Tate's bad. Well, why is he bad? Oh, because he doesn't see his kids. How the fuck do you know? How the fuck do you know? Oh, because he hates women. Says who? Oh, I made a joke. Sure, I made a joke. I hate women. Well, how come I have so many women around me if I hate them and I'm such a bad person, I'm so mean? Oh, but he was accused. Accused by who? Romania? Like, this is all garbage, right? There's nothing I enjoy more than being a father. I love being a father, and I love raising my children. I think it's the most beautiful thing on the planet. I always say to people, there's nothing more important than having kids. I advocate for it all the time. And I would argue Elon does the same. But I'm also a full-grown man with a mission to complete, and I have lots to do. And sometimes I cannot be sitting at home with the kid, playing kid things, because I have to do big, important things. And my son will call me after he's finished karate and he's beat some kid's ass, and I'll say, good job. You're living up to the Tate name. Now I have to go beat the prosecutor's ass, and we're warriors, and I'll see you in 2 days. The jet will be waiting. See you soon, son. And everyone's going to attack me and insult me, and that's fine. But is that very interesting, what your father said about who the man you are today, right? Can't you judge by results? Isn't that how we're supposed to operate anyway? The whole scientific method is you do X, Y, Z. What is the outcome? So your father did what he did to make you who you are. I saw my father about the same, and I am who I am. And I see my kids more than my dad saw me. And also, I have a lot more financial capability and fame and influence than my dad had. And he managed to raise me one of the most influential people on the planet. So I'm very sure my kids will be fine. And all my haters and detractors, the little pastor in Nebraska who thinks he's a tough guy, I would argue, and I state this is not hyperbole. I would argue that my sons will beat your sons in any competition you can name. My children are smarter than yours, and they'll beat the shit out of your boys. And I fucking guarantee it. And I'll also guarantee in 20 years from now, you're going to see the UFC roster, Tate. So you can hate me all you want. But when the results are world champions, when the results are endlessly influential males, which continue to fight the matrix as I grow old, it doesn't matter what you say. What matters is the end result. And my children are being bred for war. My sons don't do what your sons do, Mr. Pastor. My sons don't scroll YouTube aimlessly. My sons don't go to school and be programmed with garbage. My sons spend 12 hours a day, every day, preparing for their future life, which is going to be similar to mine. Nothing but heartache and stress and war. My sons are ready to go to jail now at 5.
Let's not put the 5-year-old in jail, Tate.
They're ready at 5. At 5, they're like, yes, sir. If they say I have to go, sir, yes, sir. Yes, sir. My children, I can say to my sons, sit down. And I can tell them to sit down in quiet, without an iPad, without a TV, and they will sit still for 5 straight hours and just sit there. Because I told them to. They understand. This is my world, and you're being raised in it. I watch other children without an iPad, they're throwing a fit, won't eat their food, this garbage. All these people want to accuse me of being a bad parent. Look at your fucking kids. My kids are quiet on planes. My kids are in a row. My kids are saying yes, sir, no, sir. My kids are quiet on command. My kids don't need entertainment. My kids are perfect. And I'm all...
You actually look back on the people that you went to secondary school with, even primary school, but mainly secondary school, because there were a lot of really bad kids back then. And, it mainly is the parents. The parents raise a kid to be super disrespectful, super this, super that. It's just like, dude, you have just failed at raising these kids, pretty much, and this is with, being around your, kids all the time. So, yeah, it's kind of, now, obviously, certain people are just nuts, like, whatever age they are, but, I mean, yeah, 100%, guys. You look back and you're like, oh, that just wasn't right. That just shouldn't have happened in school. Crazy situations, right?
I'm just saying that as a father. I guarantee you, when you next see me and my children, you're going to be like, he wasn't lying. My kids are soldiers. So don't worry about my children. Worry about yours. And if you really believe that I'm a bad parent and you're better than me, I'll tell you what. Your son and my son can meet in the cage. We'll settle it.
5-year-old kids in the cage?
5, 10, 15, 20, 60. Doesn't matter. You tell me when your kid is ready, and my kid will beat the shit out of yours. And I'll beat the shit out of you.
Would you?
Anytime, any place. Father, son, Royal Rumble. Cole Dana.
That'd be ridiculous.
Anytime, any place. Father, son.
Let's go.
Cole
Royal Rumble.
Dana.
Hulk Hogan.
I will get that pastor by his neck, and I will show him. I will show him a man. I will get that pastor by his neck and finish him. And my son will do the same to his offspring.
Pat, I want to hear the rest of your list, because you went to 1 and then he started doing 5-year-olds in cages.
I will finish them.
Tate, do you believe in hitting your kids?
I believe in life there is a line in which violence appears. I want to make this very clear, because people are going to try and misinterpret it. I do not believe in abusing children. I do not believe in beating children at all. But I believe in life there is a line in which violence appears. And this is true for everyone. People often say, shouldn't hit girls. So yeah, you're right, shouldn't hit girls. I'd never hit a girl. Say, well, that's not necessarily true. I'm sure if a girl turned up and set your house on fire and then killed your dog and then tried to stab you, you'd do something, right? I mean, police officers shoot women when they charge at them with knives. Like, nobody is off limits to violence. Yeah. There is a line that if you cross, violence appears. Now, do I hit my kids? No, because I don't have to. But would I? Sure. If I say, you better stop, and he disobeys me. You better stop, he disobeys me. I'm a man and you're a child, and I'm about to show you why. You don't want to find out. This is your last warning. If he defies me, he has crossed the line where violence will appear.
The wooden spoon. Oh, I hate the wooden spoon.
Will he be hurt? No. Will he suffer bruises, and will he need to go to hospital? Of course not. He'll be absolutely fine. But he will learn that there's a line. Now, we all know that as men. We all know if I get in your face and keep talking too much, sooner or later, we're going to fight. We all know that, right? So how can I raise boys and not prepare them for the real world? The real world that we live in, not the false world that women want to live in, not the false world that liberals want to live in. In the real world, if you run your mouth, sooner or later, you're going to get checked. So you have to be prepared to fight for every single word you say.
Big time. And the reason we have rights in this world is because people fight for them, literally. There's no such thing as rights in this world unless you fight for them.
Don't say it. And I think it makes me a good father to make it clear to my boys that if you want to talk tough, that's fine. But there will be consequences. Now, if you beat me up, then you can keep talking. If you beat me, then you can talk.
You want some respect to this kid? You want some of this?
Yeah. I'll say to him, look, I've given you an opinion. You give me your opinion. It seems there's an impasse here. Yeah. It looks like we have to go kinetic, sir. So if you beat me, then you can continue to tell me you want Cheerios. But I've said there's no motherfucking Cheerios. So it is what it is. So the answer, truthfully, respectfully, would I hit my children? If they cross the line, yes. Am I a psycho? No. Have I had to hit my kids thus far? No. But one of the main reasons I don't have to hit them is because they know I would. Let's analyze this. This is important. One of the reasons I don't have to hit my kids is because they know I would. One of the reasons the police don't have to shoot you is because you know they would. If you knew the police would never shoot you, you wouldn't comply. You comply because you know there is a threat of violence at the end of it.
True, and that's why I think violence is like more so in Ireland, because the police don't even have guns. So, I mean, some do, but it's like if they had guns, there would be way less like younger people committing crimes, like petty crimes and shit in Ireland. Like, I mean, the level of violence might actually go up, but overall, yeah, it's like you have that threat there. You know, the police will shoot your ass if you do anything.
And there's a lot of people who are anti-violence, right? People go, oh, violence is bad. Guys, wake up. Violence is the underpinning of civilized society. Violence runs everything. This world we currently live in is run by violence. Why am I returning to Romania on the 23rd of March? Because if I don't, they'll put out a piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper. What can a piece of paper do to you? Well, that piece of paper means guys are going to come get me. And who are those people? Why don't I tell them to fuck off? Because if I do, they will become violent. That piece of paper has power because it is backed by the threat of violence. A police officer has power because it's backed by the threat of violence. And a father has power because it is backed by the threat of violence. My sons know if they disrespect me, there will be consequences.
What do you think you owe them? What do you think you owe your kids?
It's a really good question. Let me quickly analyze if I owe them or if they owe me. Because I feel like they owe a lot to our last name. I feel like they're heavily indebted already. I feel like they owe me and they owe my father and they owe our last name and they owe our bloodline. I feel like they owe me. I owe them the best chance they can be to be their best selves. Of course I do. And I am heavily interested. I am father of the year. Anyone who thinks I'm not a father, I guarantee you I spend more time micromanaging my son's upbringing to make him a hero than you could possibly believe. So I do have a duty to them to give them the best possible chance, but they have a duty to me to not squander it. My children have a massive burden over their head, which is the Tate name. And people often say, oh, you know, it's bad to have a father who you're trying to live up to. Da, da, da. I mean, I'm sure loads of psychologists say this, but they're all liars anyway. Psychology doesn't work. They've never cured anybody ever. So psychology is garbage, and therapists are garbage, and liberals are garbage, and what women think about raising boys is garbage too. That's all garbage. I think the best thing that can happen for a boy to be raised into a kingdom and look up and say, shit, dad's the fucking man. I gotta be like dad. This is hard. Oh, it's a burden of performance. Oh, does that make you feel stressed? Welcome to life, son. Because guess what? I have a burden of performance. I have a burden of performance in that courtroom. I have a burden of performance after a 12-hour flight to get off the jet and walk out to the media and deal with them. I have a burden of performance permanently and endlessly. So that's the real world. If you're a man, you have a burden of performance. So I make sure that they understand that from a very young age.
Example. The example is what you owe them.
Yeah.
Everything else?
No, it's my job. You know what? It's actually a balancing act. And I'll be honest with you, very honest with you. Raising daughters is so much easier. Because with my daughters, I feel like I just want her to be happy. You know? My daughter, I just want her to be happy. You want to be a princess? Oh, you're a mermaid. That's great. You're a mermaid. You're a princess. It's Christmas. You're happy. You're smiling. With my daughters, I just want them happy. But with my sons, it's far more detailed because I don't want my sons to be happy as much as I want them to be capable. I don't want my sons to be miserable, of course, but I don't wake up and think, just make him happy. I do with my daughters. I'm the worst. I'm a girl. With a girl dad, she wants a toy. Give her the toy. Oh, he wants a toy. He wants what? What does he want? How many push-ups has he done? What do you mean toy? What toy? Bring him here. And I get mad. Because with your sons, you're far more, you have to prepare them for life as a man.
Yeah.
It's harder.
Toughness.
It's hard to be a man. So I have a duty, truthfully, I think to my sons, the hardest thing is for me not to be as soft as I want to be.
Ooh.
Like with my daughter, with your daughters, you get to just be yourself. And everyone thinks that I'm a big, mean, evil man. But you'll often know if you've been through enough life that the mob bosses or the big evil man, we're the softest guys. I'm so soft with my daughters and with my kids. And sometimes with the boys, it's hard to be hard on them. But you have to be. It's my duty sometimes to harden my heart and say, no.
Tate,
so
how many kids do you have?
Let me ask this question. I got a crazy question for you. So your daughter, one of them, later on, she brings a guy home. Yep. He's like you, okay?
Okay.
And confident, not intimidated by
I'll
you.
whoop his ass, but yeah.
But he's respectful, but he's confident, and he's kind of like you. He comes in with a swagger because that's what they're used to, right?
Of course.
They get married. 5 years later, they got 2 kids. Okay. She finds text messages. She finds out he's got a handful of girls on the side. You find out through your guys who run the clubs that they report, because people are going to, guys like us, we're going to be reported back. Everything's coming back to us. Of course. You find out he's hooked up with 3, 4, 5 girls on the side. Are you confronting him?
So I say this, and I've answered this question before, and people find my answer surprising, but I'm going to be very honest with you. My plan for my daughters, and my number one hope for my daughters, if I could plan their lives head to toe, would be for them to, at a relatively young age, meet a man who is older than them, who can take care of them financially and get pregnant and have a family. If my 21-year-old daughter wanted to marry a 48, 50-year-old guy, I'd be very happy with that. I'd be like, good. He's probably settled down a bit. He has enough money to take care of you. You're going to be good. In this scenario, which you've just described, if the man is financially providing for her, if he's offering her provision and protection and she's safe, I would truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, say to her, look, there's no point losing the man who's paying for you, who takes care of you, who will die for you, who protects you, who does all of those jobs as a man because he's running around with a few silly girls. There's no point leaving him. You can confront him, we'll talk to him, but there's no point in destroying your family home over this. That's what I would say. People may think I'm not telling the truth, but I'm telling you that's what I would genuinely say.
He has to say that to be logically consistent with his arguments in the beginning, right?
No, we talk about marriage. There's a really great guy. There's a really great guy on Twitter. Devin Erickson, I think his name is. Everyone follow him. And he replied to my video I made on Elon Musk. No, that's not him. That's a little dork.
From Nebraska.
That's a little nerd from Nebraska. That's one of the pastor's kids. That's one of the pastor's sons. We don't need them.
Devin Erickson almost got a shout out. Okay, that guy's not a dork. All right.
All right. Find his reply. I would like to read this verbatim, please. Find his reply to my Elon video where I explain that having children is the business of kings. Please find, he did a thread breakdown of it. This is about 2 weeks ago. His reply to my Elon video. If you can find it, that's not it, there's another one. If you can find it, I would love to read it verbatim because he explains something which is so pertinently important. It's extremely important. So we'll find it. But he talks about what marriage effectively is.
While he's looking for it, do you have a summary?
Yeah, so what he's saying is people will say Andrew has a bunch of baby mamas and that he's irresponsible. But truthfully, a man's true obligations are protection and provision. This is why the Bible said if you rape a woman, you have to marry her. People see that as, oh, that's bad for the woman. But what they were trying to do is say to men, you're responsible for what you create. You now need to protect her. You must provide for her because of what you've done. It was almost like marriage was not a punishment for the man, but an obligation for the man. And he was explaining that marriage throughout the longest period in human time was protection and provision. That's all it was. A king could have more wives because he could protect and provide for more wives. He's saying marriage was not bouquets. Marriage was not remembering anniversaries. Marriage was not date nights. Marriage was not holding hands. Marriage was, do I protect you? Do I provide for you? So he effectively defended me and said, Andrew does not have a bunch of baby mamas. He has a bunch of wives because they're all paid for. They're all protected. They all have private security. They're all in mansions. They all drive Bentleys. He's doing his job as a man. That's what a man is supposed to do, effectively. So I would say to my daughter, are your bills paid? Now, if he cuts the money off, or if he refuses to help her or protect her, if he leaves her in the ghetto, that's a different conversation. But if my daughter came to me and said, Dad, say, yes, what's up, my love? I'm living in my mansion, and I'm driving my Bentley, and I have my 4 nannies and my private security guards, and I found out that my ultra-rich husband has a little girlfriend who's 19, and I'm 36 now, and he has this little young, hot, cute girl. I'd say, don't stress him out and piss him off. Just give him 2 days off a week and get over it. That's what I would say. That's the truth. That's what I would say. Welcome to the real world. It may not be nice, it may not be pretty. The real world isn't. But at least you're paid for, at least you're taken care of.
Is this it, Rob?
Yes.
You want to read this? Okay. Time to take a break. Shut down and give some context. Andrew Tate in this video gives us the what. Here's the why. Trad cons don't know what marriage is or what it's for because they think traditional means 100 years ago. The white Christian European model of marriage isn't traditional marriage at all. It's a redesign, a redefinition of marriage. It's marriage 2.0. We'll see how in a minute. First, we need to admit that marriage isn't instinctive. There are species that mate for life, sandhill cranes and whatnot. Monogamy isn't a struggle for them. It's instinctive. They just do it. Humans do not instinctively mate for life. They just mate. The men mate when they can impress women. Women mate when they are impressed by men. And the women of the hominid pack babysit each other's children. Fast forward to the beginning of a Neolithic era. Now all of a sudden they're actually something to own. Fields, cattle, buildings, wealth, and men own the wealth because they were the ones who did stuff you need to do to get it. Why the men? Because men had to impress women to mate. All women have to do is mate to be impressed. But since property was Neolithic, humans survived, and men had all the property, mating arrangements had to adapt so that a mother could eat and a son could be raised and inherit the father's cattle. If a man put a child in a woman, she was his wife. If he put a child in another woman, she was also his wife. If he put a child in 100 women, he had 100 wives. And those women and children could rely on his spear for defense and his fields and cattle for support. That's marriage. If you want to understand this context, look at the part of the Bible that says a man who rapes him, this is what you were talking about. Yeah. Got it. Sounds insane if you go through it. Modern Arab Americans run comments about ancient people, didn't care about romance and made choice. They were busy trying to... Okay, so by the way, you know Amor, remember Amor? Did you ever meet Amor or no?
No.
You definitely know Amor.
Of course, yeah.
Amor would come from here. Amor's an Armenian man who was my chief compliance officer.
Love Amor.
Love Amor. When we sold the company and he got $1 million check, it was a great name. And by the way,
great roommates.
That name matches exactly who you think he is.
Yeah.
Ladies loved him.
I bet.
Armenian guy with an accent who would speak French.
Yeah, he was French.
And he would call all the girls, darling.
Hello.
Darling, hey darling, and they would just fall in love with this guy.
Yeah.
He explained this was the purpose of man. It's purely mating. He would always explain this. That's what it's about. Back in the days, the guys who had it, their job was to mate. Now, we are living in a different era.
Of course
today.
we are.
So the mindset has changed slightly on what they're thinking. I added two other things. I added intentionality, accessibility to kids so they can get a hold of you, love, and example. Partly kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, and accessibility is also a very important one. I'll be honest. Like, if a lot of this comes down to money, but I don't want to be shallow, but so much in life comes down to money because money is your capability.
It does. Everything really comes down to money.
To do many things, right?
Yeah.
There's no way you can effectively raise that many children without a huge source of money. Of course, it's very expensive to do. But if you do have a huge source of money, I think Amor and I would have a very long conversation about the fact that cars get boring and watches get boring, and you may as well have a whole bunch of children. You may as well have a whole bunch of sons if you can afford to raise them, and you have the time. You can take the time out of work because you're rich enough to put effort and focus into them. I'm not looking to just have children and abandon them. I'm not trying to just create genetic progeny that are forgotten about. The Tate boys need effort. The Tate boys need energy. The Tate boys need money because they're the Tate boys. But I like to think I can afford 20. So that's what I'm going to do. And women, and this is something else we have to discuss about women, because this actually ties back into the human trafficking and the feminism and all these things. Women are in a very interesting position now in Western society where they are equals. While also being better than us because they're girl bosses, while also being children because every time they make a decision that other people don't like or they end up not liking, they didn't do it, someone tricked them. So we're in this three-phase garbage scenario where women are better than you, plus children, plus you're equal. Because when I say that the women I'm with are happy for me to have children with other women, you've tricked them. They're full-grown adults. I thought they were our equal. I thought they could come up to their own conclusions. I thought they could sit there and go, you know what? A life from Andrew Tate. I get to be with one of the most famous men in the world. He's extremely security conscious. I get to be very rich. I know my kids are going to be brown, sexy, tall, strong. They're going to have Patek Philippe's, diamonds, etc. It's fine. That's their decision to make, right? But people are going to pretend that I fooled them somehow. And I actually think this is an interesting segue into how we fix modern society. And one of the most important distinctions we need to make as a civilization in the West. Because all of our problems, from false rape charges, which I know a lot about, to feminism, to all of this garbage, comes down to this impossible scenario where women are girl bosses and better than men at everything, while also being our equal, while also needing DEI to get anywhere, while also being children who are permanently tricked into everything. And this is a really interesting scenario to be in.
That's actually a good point. I've never heard it said like that. So, you know, women, whoever, whatever, you know, are equal, as everybody thinks that should be. But then people need DEI. Like, if people are so equal, why do you need DEI things to, you know, be equal? It's an interesting, what would you call it? Yeah, it's interesting. That's interesting.
And I can give you a very simple example. If there's a crazy bitch, woman, Megan Kelly, you know, If there's a crazy woman, right, and she's nuts, and she takes Valium to sleep every night, and she's on mental health medication, and she drinks all the time, and she's crazy, and everyone knows she's a hoe, she's been with all the guys in town, and I marry her, and then she divorces me and takes half my money, and I come to you guys and go, guys, I used to be rich. I had to cut the Bugatti in half. I lost it. She took all my money. You will sit and say to me, why did you marry her? She's nuts. Everyone knows she's nuts. You will blame me, right? Whereas if a woman goes out, takes drugs, gets high, gets drunk, goes to the club, kisses 4 men, kisses the 5th man, gets in the taxi with him, goes back to the hotel, initiates sex with him, has sex with him, has no problem with that sex, asks him for a handbag 2 years later. He says no, then cries rape. No one will say, why did you do all those things? Why were you high? Why were you in his hotel? Why did you have sex with him? Instead, we'll say, that man's a predator.
This is going to get very controversial all of a sudden.
Why? We always blame the man. Women are not held accountable ever. It's always the man's fault all of the time. My argument to that is, if that's the paradigm, if the men are permanently the only ones we blame for anything, then how can you make women better than us at everything and give them any kind of autonomy? You have to either say to women, listen to your father, then listen to your man, because you don't know good for yourself, or you have to say, you know good for yourself, so you're responsible for the scenarios you find yourself in. All of the world's problems come from the fact that we're picking and choosing, like Schrodinger's cat, picking and choosing at random, depending on the scenario, whether a woman is better than a man or a completely helpless child who is fooled all of the time. And when you apply this to society, there's not a single problem you can't tie back to this exact thing. And it's scary and it's dangerous. There's not a single man on the planet now in the Western world that can even truthfully get consent to have sex, because consent can be retrospectively taken back. So you could be a man and meet a woman and have sex with her and have a full, happy relationship. You could be with her for 2 years, and you could be together, and she can live with you, and everything could be fine. And then the second she doesn't like you, she can say to the police, he abused me. Like, did he abuse you? Well, he didn't hit me, but he emotionally abused me. Oof. How? What does that mean? I felt sad sometimes. Okay, arrest him. What? What? This is an impossible scenario for a man to be in. This is why also I have my women, I have my wives, I'm done. All these beautiful Instagram models, stop begging, I'm sorry, I'm done. I don't trust any of you, I'm done. Because if I talk to any new girl, it's gonna be great until I don't buy the handbag. It's gonna be great till I don't put her on that jet because another girl's on that jet. Now I got all these problems and I've had enough, so I'm done with women. But isn't it absolutely insane that we're living in a world now where no one wants to address the fact that women can weaponize the legal system to destroy men absolutely at random? And they do it to every single man. This is why they attacked me with sexual crimes, because even the accusation is enough for them to get what they want, which is to damage your reputation. And they can simply do it by lying by omission. Let me ask you a question as a professional. Let's be pertinent, let's be smart here. If I'm the police and I want to destroy a man, and I call 100 women who he's ever known, and 99 say he's a great guy, and 1 says he's a bad guy, I don't have to mention that 99 said he's a great guy. I can lie by omission. I can ignore all 99 who defended him, all 99 who say he's a great guy, all 99 who says the one other girl is a psycho liar. We can ignore that too. We can take this one girl and destroy the man. What's this one girl's motivation? Well, he's no longer giving her money. He's famous, he's rich, he's well known, he's living his life, he has a new girlfriend. Let me ask you this, and I don't even know the answer. What percentage of women are on mental health medication? What percentage of women are depressed?
Oh, here we go. The mental health medication, I've been against it forever. I've never taken it or anything, but when I've seen it firsthand, what it does to people is not good.
You think women don't lie? I would argue, and I'm going to guess, 17 to 24% of women are on drugs because they can't control their own brains. But we're going to listen to the one we find out of 100 saying a man's a bad guy because he made her feel sad once 4.5 years ago. Destroy this man? Do you not understand that this paradigm, 17.7%, I'm a genius. I'm a genius.
56% receive mental health treatment.
Then half of them are nuts. I'm a genius. So.
Damn, that is an insane statistic. No pun intended. That's an insane statistic.
Oh, this is my point. No, but let's understand. Why has the Matrix put this paradigm together? Why do they allow and continue to tell us that women are better than us to destroy masculinity? They're equal to us, even though they need DEI. And at the same time, they're children who are susceptible to our godlike powers to control their minds, and that we're responsible for all of their decisions. It's very simple. Because by putting together that paradigm, they can pick any man at random they don't like. Me, Trump, Hegseth, I think, had this.
Drake, Cristiano Ronaldo, like every single celebrity has had that done to them. Conor McGregor got convicted, so well, the thing is, it's all civil. Like, the thing about that situation, those situations are, anyone can get accused of stuff, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Drake, but then they just like paid them off and then they kind of dropped it. I don't know, stuff like that. Everyone, every celebrity that I've seen, that's happened to, basically.
Matt Gaetz had this. They can pick any man at random they don't like. They can call every girl he's ever known, and they can get a criminal case. That's how they do it. Let me tell you something else about women. This happened to me. I had women who didn't even intend to rat on me, and they didn't. But the police bring them in. Women are not prepared for 10-hour police interviews. If you bring a woman in and go, did Andrew ever hurt you? No. Did he ever abuse you? No. He's abusive to women. Well, he wasn't abusive to me. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Well, did he ever make you sad? Well, we argued sometimes. Yeah, so that's abuse. Well, I don't think it is. Well, when you were sad, what did you do? Well, we just went out. You just ignored me and went to work. With another girl, right? Yeah, I think so. After 10 hours, they end up believing they're a victim. They brainwash them. And they know what they're doing. The police are trained to do this. So they can get that one chick to wreck your life with. And this is what's extremely important. Anyone who understands the world, they do this on purpose so that no man is safe, because it is the warriors, the men. Now, if you're the kind of man who's going to stand up and fight against the system and fight against the matrix and resist enslavement, have you had sex? Probably. You're probably not an incel virgin, right? You're probably the kind of guy who knows some chicks. That's the attack vector always. They go, Andrew Tate, girls. Hegseth, girls. Matt Gaetz, girls. Trump, girls. They use women. They weaponize them against men. And this is something that not a lot of people understand. And it's scary, and it's something we need to fix. As a society, we have to make a decision. Are women sentient beings? Do women come to their own conclusions or not? Let's talk about human trafficking. Nobody who's accusing me and tweeting these stupid things even knows my fucking charges. I thought human trafficking, I didn't know what human trafficking was. I thought human trafficking was getting someone, beating them up, putting them in chains, dragging them somewhere, keeping them chained up, and forcing them to do something, sex or wash dishes.
That's what I thought it was as well. I think every logical person thought that that's what that is, right? Is when you force people to do something against their will, take them from a foreign country and stuff like that.
Whatever. That's what I thought human trafficking was. But in this insane subjective world where women are children who can be fooled into anything, they're saying human trafficking is, no, you used the lover boy method. You were nice to her. And because you were nice to her and you used financial incentives to make her do something, you're telling me I was nice to my girlfriend and bought her a handbag and that made her do something? And that's human trafficking? Guys, analyze this. If you are nice to a woman and buy her a present and she does anything ever, even if you didn't tell her to do it, they could say, he made her do that. He made her have TikTok. And even if she says, no, he didn't make me have TikTok, like the girls in my case saying, no, he didn't hurt us. The girls in my case are defending me. Doesn't matter what you say, he brainwashed you. He made you have TikTok because he bought you handbags. Guys, please understand, no man is safe from this bullshit. No man is safe. And that's why they keep this so vague. People talk about consent all the time. You need to get consent, get consent. How can you get something they can take away years later? You can't get consent. That's why a huge proportion of the men, the young men in the world today, are just checking out of girls and checking out of sex. Like, oh, fuck this. It's a mess. I'm not even getting involved in it. I can't blame them. It's a minefield. Nobody's safe from this garbage. Absolutely nobody.
I definitely agree with that. A lot of people don't even bother because they're scared and stuff.
So, by the way, debate. Do you ever watch a debate, presidential debate, and you say, man, I'd love to be on the stage debating somebody? Do you ever itch for it or no?
Sometimes, yeah. I love. Yeah, sometimes. Let me ask why you're asking the question.
I'm asking the question because I watch you, and you know we've spent I don't know how many times we've done this. So this is what we're on our 12th hour, right, of doing podcasts, and we've only done 3, and first 2, each of them was 5 hours. We have the conversations together, and I watch you make your arguments, make your case, right? To think how your father shaped you and Tristan's mindset, if I have an impression of your father was like, he was a guy that would teach you sequencing and to do to the enemy what he or she is trying to do to you.
Absolutely.
Okay? Mentally, right? I mean, and by the way, part of it is, what you have to do when you're raising strong kids. You have to do it because, especially in today's society, it's a very tough society. Was a part of you wanting to run for prime minister in UK a publicity stunt? Were you sick of it, or were you itching to make the place better?
I think one of the things my father instilled in me, and it came from his teachings and it came from lots of different lessons, but especially it came from chess, is because chess is ruthless. There's a lot of people, especially men, who I'm surprised by this fact, but I would argue it's the truth, who believe their enemies are going to have pity or mercy. There's a lot of men who you'd be surprised believe that pity is going to appear or mercy is going to appear somewhere. And if you change your mindset and change your framing to understand that your enemies are never going to have mercy on you, they're never going to see you as a human, they're never going to feel sorry for you ever, then the only end result to that is action. And the only action is to fight back. There's a whole lot of men who go, well, if I'm just quiet, or if I just behave, or if I'm just good in front of the police, or if I'm just nice to the judge, they'll let me off. No, they won't. Your enemies are out here to mercilessly crush you. They don't care about what happens to you. They do not feel responsible for the consequences. They do not have empathy for you. They're not interested in any of that. Look what the liberals tried to do to the conservatives when they had power. The biggest problem with conservatives is we don't do that, right? We're going to allow our enemies to just walk around and get away with everything, right? But when they're in power, they crush mercilessly. That comes from chess. When you're getting crushed in a chess position, praying that he's nice to you in a tournament is insane. It's not going to happen. When you're in the cage and you're fighting and you're on the bottom and he's grounding and pounding you, you can't sit there and go, maybe he'll feel sorry for me. None of this is real. None of this is real. So when I look at the UK, I look how insane it is. I look how they're trying to destroy my life. I look at how they're wrecking the country. I look at how everything's a complete mess. I don't sit there and expect these people to one day wake up empathetic. I don't expect them to one day wake up and get a brain, or wake up one day and realize what they're doing wrong. I see them as violent oppressors who have no intention to do anything other than instill full communism amongst the entire population. So there's only one choice. You either let them do it or you fight back. Well, what are you going to do? You either let them get away with it or you resist them. So my intention to become UK Prime Minister is absolutely 100% legitimate. I want to save the country I grew up in, because if I don't do it, they're going to succeed. There's only ever been a good man against a bad man. If you're going to let the bad men run rampant, they're going to finally conquer. So I am absolutely serious about saving the United Kingdom if I can. I'm going to do my absolute best. That's why they want to put me in jail. They know I'm a threat to them politically. They know that. That's why they want to lock me up for my tweets.
What do you think happened to UK?
I can tell you what happened to the UK. I have a lot of theories.
Let's hear about this, because the UK is basically Ireland, okay? Because we're very influenced by them.
Firstly, I would argue that the royal family was collapsed by therapy and psychiatry. This is a theory I've come up with completely out of nowhere.
Literally, like you believe this?
When I got the 17%, I'm just that guy. I just know things.
Okay.
Right? I just know things. I would argue that the royal family, which was the backbone of the United Kingdom, was being held together by the Queen. When the Queen died, I said to Tristan, this is the end of England. Because the Queen was the last respectable member of the royal family. I like Kate and Will. I like them. But I would argue that when Diana died, the boys were put through endless therapy and psychotherapy and all of this garbage. And I think it is one of the largest and most dangerous industries in the world today. It's as dangerous as pharmaceuticals. Making full-grown men sit down and cry and talk about how hard their life is the worst thing you can do with full-grown men. I really would argue. I would argue it's not a real science. I would argue it's subjective garbage. And I would argue there's nothing that will destroy your mind faster than therapy. I think the entire royal family was completely hijacked by these therapists and these psychoanalysts that turned everything weird. That's why Meghan and, what's his name? The one who married Meghan. I can't remember his name. Harry's weird with Meghan. She bosses him around. It's all just weird.
Harry is not the top G.
Yeah, well, exactly. So I think all of that's down to psychiatry. We could talk about why I have my theories on psychiatry a little bit after. So that's the royal family. As for the political class, the Europeans currently are stuck in a very difficult scenario, because I really don't see how they currently align with the United States government on nearly anything. They are full communist. They're full femme-centric. It's a matriarchy. It is collapsing in real time economically. The men which reside inside of Europe don't seem to have enough in them to resist this enslavement and this population replacement, which is another huge thing we have to talk about in Europe. Europe's being completely destroyed, and there's no masculinity to resist it, it seems. If you destroy masculinity inside of a society, the society is ripe for conquest. And the average man in Europe simply is not man enough to get other men together, to find other men, to resist. But let's talk about this. This is an important point. I'm going to take my glasses off for this because it's extremely important.
I think if people do that, then they're going to go to jail, prison for a long time. I think some people, James Conway, people like that are trying to do that in Ireland. That's the only person I know, but yeah.
Europe has destroyed free speech. Why does this matter? I'll tell you why this matters. If you're a billionaire or if you're in charge, you can lie. So if you're in charge of things, you can stand up in front of the cameras and say, I'm going to do X. And then behind the scenes, you can do Y. You're allowed to lie because you have actual power. Whereas if you are not powerful, your only power is in numbers. So you can't lie because you need to find other people who align with you and think like you do so that you can win in large numbers. So you have to be able to say what you think and say what you feel to find the other members of your army so you can all stand up and get in a crowd and say enough is enough. So the reason they silence free speech in Europe so heavily is so that you never find the other people who think like you. That's the reason they shut down social media so hard. So you can't stand up and say this is garbage. Because if you do, you go to jail. So even if you think it, you don't say it. And as an unimportant man, you can't lie. You can't tweet, this is not garbage, and still be effective. Whereas a billionaire can lie and still be effective. The common man needs speech and needs truth to find an army that allows him to resist oppression. And that is why Europe is gone psycho, Stalin, full Stasi on speech. That's what they're afraid of. Because if you could tell the truth in England on social media for a week, there'd be a revolution. And they know that. That's why they want me in jail. That's why they don't let anyone tell the truth. They know that. Keir Starmer himself knows that. That's why they've done what they've done. So the UK has a lack of masculinity. All of Europe does. You add in free speech problems. You add in the fact that you can't find other men to stand beside you at war. You have the odd warrior who pops his head up and gets his head chopped clean off. That's the problem with Europe.
Yeah, he came the other day. I think it was a week and a half ago. He
Look at his face. That's the face of evil. Keir, when you lock me up in Belmarsh, which I know you're going to do, that's fine. That is the face of evil, sir. Look at that. That is incompetence incarnate. Look, that's not a leader. England was the greatest country in the world. I watched. It brought tears to my eyes. I watched the Battle of Cairo. I watched Nelson fight the French fleet. A YouTube video at the Battle of Cairo. I even tweeted it in full. The heroism showed by the Brits only 200 years ago. These were the best men on the planet. A tiny island with the largest empire in history. I was in America till I was 8, but I spent my teenage years in the UK. I feel very British. The British were the hardest, strongest, most resilient people on the planet. When the British were coming, only the Americans seemed to have beat them. You were scared when the British were coming. We sailed all around the world. Opioid wars in China, Battle of Cairo, Waterloo, you name it. We beat Napoleon. We did. The Brits. And now look, soy face is locking us up for having an opinion. And we're sitting there on our asses, afraid to say anything. This exact clip will be played in front of a judge when they lock me up. But it has to be said, because that is not the leader of the United Kingdom. That is not the leader the United Kingdom deserves. We need, UK is an even more dire scenario than the United States. We need Trump or someone Trump-esque. And Nigel Farage isn't up to the task. He's not strong enough. It's me or I don't know who else. But UK is in a mess. We need someone of Trump's level to fix it. Because this guy, Keir, is doing nothing but run it into the ground. And it really, truly breaks my heart because the UK was the greatest country on earth. And that's why I want to become the prime minister, to restore it to its former glory. Britain and the history of Britain and the amazing things it's achieved, the fact that London is a country where you can't even wear a watch anymore is not just disgraceful. It's absolutely disgusting. People should face treason charges for what they've done.
Okay, so
treason.
Let me ask you this. First podcast we did, you were a Christian.
Yep.
Second podcast we did, you were a Muslim.
Yep.
Today, are you still a Muslim?
Yes.
You are. Okay. So you talking about UK,
Yep.
right? I lived in Germany at a refugee camp. And I saw who, first time I ever got stabbed in my life was by another Afghani kid. It was in Erlangen at a refugee camp. We had a fight. Boom. He took it out. Well, I'm like,
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yep.
11 years old when this happened to me. So you look at stats because I'm a data guy. I think you're also a data guy.
100%.
And I watched you go through it to see how you were going to maneuver around this. I was watching you very closely. I think you and I even exchanged a couple messages one time privately, you and I. I look at stats. 2023, The top name, the number one name in UK, London, is Muhammad.
Correct.
Okay. That wasn't the case when you grew up. That was not the case.
It's true.
When you look at stats, 27% of prisoners in London jail are Muslims.
Yep.
Where the population's only 6%.
That's right.
You hear the arguments about Sharia law, what they're saying. You hear your fellow who you've spoken to before, you guys have collaborated before, Tommy Robinson. He makes his arguments on what's going on with what do you call it? With
grooming
UK.
gangs.
Yeah. And then I look at some of the tweets. Here's a couple of the tweets that you had for people reacting to you because you were going strong to what was going on in UK. And you said, if you don't believe in the way the system that UK has, get out. I don't care who you are.
Correct.
You were very clear about it.
Correct.
You were very thorough about it.
Correct.
The response came back to you from the Muslim community, and it wasn't pretty. They were attacking you, right?
Yep.
And one of your response here that I have on the tweet, it says, Islam hate comes from Muslims who think they have to defend the disgusting actions that other Muslims commit instead of admitting that a religion can be perfect and people are not.
Yep.
Muslim must condemn the disgusting child rape openly and verbally, or the entire religion will be done. And then you respond back, Muslims who refuse to understand the crime Islamophobia instead of addressing a serious issue is only going to garner reassessment. These grooming gangs would not be tolerated in an Islamic country. It's time for Muslims to stand up against all. And then there's more of these that I can read.
Yep.
Okay. And even to go back on what happened when the comments they made about Jesus Christ, you remember that as a Muslim, you said, I will never forget these scumbags for disgracing Jesus Christ,
That's
right? So you've done both sides. But specifically to UK, a once great nation, based on what you're saying.
Yep.
A once 200 years ago, the strongest men, what they produced, who they defended.
Yep.
They were not afraid of going up against the scariest people that everybody feared. They stood up and said, you're not going to do it here.
Yep.
We've seen Dunkirk. We've seen these movies. We've seen these histories. A lot of us got it from movies. Some of us got it from school. How much has your opinion changed since now you've been a Muslim now for what, 2 years? I want to say 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. How much do you link that to the issues that UK is facing?
So the UK does have a problem where a lot of the culture is being eroded, and it's being eroded by an Islamic immigration. And this is going to make Muslims mad when I say it, but I understand why the native Brits feel threatened by that and are unhappy with that. When you talk about crime statistics, it's difficult because you can do the same thing with black people in the United States. But black people are a part of the United States. It's seen as racist to say that they're a lower percentage of the population, but they commit more of the crime. But you can do the same with black people in the United States. But
see, yeah, I don't agree because if you guys go to the Middle East, Saudi, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE. I was actually born in the UAE. They're the best countries in the world. Like, they're the best countries, guys. Super safe, loads of money, no crime. That's kind of what you want from a place. Great weather. I'm definitely going to try to get a house over there sometime. They're the best places, and the religion definitely helps with that, guys. The religion, it's just that the way that they run the countries in the Western world, we run our country so shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, people, you have dangerous people coming in. It's again like, there's just no background checks. So, I don't know, blaming statistics like that, it's just, I don't know, man. I think that the Middle Eastern countries, most of them are the safest places ever. It's just the way you run your country, right?
black people live here, and they're always going to live here. I like to be ultra realistic about all things. And I like the idea of Britain retaining its culture and feeling like England. A lot of the stabbing that happens in the UK isn't from Muslims particularly. It's actually from Christians from Africa. A lot of it's third worlders. A lot of it's black youths inside of London who do most of the stabbing, the majority of it. So I think we have a huge disconnect here that we have to discuss. And the disconnect is third world versus first world and attaching Islam to the third world. And in some cases that is true. But there are first world Islamic nations which are much safer than any Western nation. So you have
facts.
A lot of third world Christians which are coming in, committing heinous crimes. The Southport killer, he was from Rwanda, I believe he's a Christian family, and he killed 4 or 5 little girls, stabbed them to death recently.
Right. This is, yeah.
That's what caused all the riots.
Rudy Kabena, the guy from the Taylor Swift concert.
Correct.
But his father was from Rwanda, but his father had some crazy stuff. He had an Al-Qaeda training.
Manual, that's right. But there's a whole bunch of Christians who are people coming from the third world who are committing crimes as well. I'll be honest with you. It's actually interesting when we attach Islam to these things. If you go to the UAE or Qatar or Bahrain, these countries have extremely strict immigration policies.
Here we go. He's about to talk about it. Take notes, guys, because this is facts, bro. Like, go to the Middle East. You guys will think it's like heaven on earth, man. No, zero crime, rich people. Everyone's super friendly. I mean, friendliest place ever. Brought up there, nothing ever happened to me. I was never abused growing up. It was just like heaven, you know, until about like 6 years old, and then, you know, moved to Ireland. So
to the UAE or Qatar about.
And I love Ireland more than anywhere, but you know, the crime here is just crazy. You know?
Bahrain, these countries have extremely strict immigration policies. They're extremely strict about Islamization and extremism and radicalization. And these countries are some of the most beautiful countries in the world to live in, and they're extremely safe. So I think the problem that we have with Europe and the UK specifically was actually summed up by somebody who knows the problem better than I, and it was the UAE foreign minister. Did you ever see what he said?
Yes.
The UAE foreign minister. Find his video where he talks about the Islamization of Western nations, and he's saying that you're allowing extremism to foster in your countries because you think you know Islam better than we do. And we don't allow these ideologies in our own Islamic nations, and you're allowing them in the West, and you think you
It is right there.
Let's play this video.
There will come a day that we will see far more radical extremists and terrorists coming out of Europe because of the lack of decision making, trying to be politically correct, or assuming that they know the Middle East and they know Islam and they know the others far better than we do. And I'm sorry, but that's pure ignorance. There will come a day.
What was interesting about that interview, if you saw the very beginning of the clip, the whole interview was actually in Arabic. And he was going to say that, and he goes, no, I'm actually going to say this in English.
Yeah, that's right.
And she's like, no, it's okay, we'll translate. He goes, no,
yeah,
I want to say this in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a legend. You know, they're really smart people. Extremely smart. Matter of fact, the leaders in the UAE and the Middle East are much better than the leaders here. And it would be great to have people like that, knowledgeable. Honestly, I mean, the government here, I don't have a clue. They have no idea what the hell's going on.
Yeah, so
what do you think about that message?
Well, you could say he's not a real Muslim. I guess that's what the Muslims of the Great Britain would do, because they said that to me when I said that any Muslim who is not outraged by the crimes committed by Muslims is part of the problem. And this is the identity politics problem, right? We had this with blacks and George Floyd, etc., and all these things, and BLM. If a black person commits crime, then black people should stand up and say, I don't care if he's black, he committed a crime.
Yep.
But when you have people who rally around somebody purely because of their religion or the color of their skin, irregardless of their actions, that's how you foster hate. If you want to give racists what they want, and I'm part black, part white, if you want to make white people hate black people, all that takes is for black people to defend a black person who breaks the law.
Right. Yeah.
Now they're like, well, all you black people are a problem because this guy was a criminal and you're sticking up for him. So what I was saying is that the Muslims who complain that Islam is hated in the West, they're making it worse by sticking up for grooming gangs and serial murderers. I don't care what race or religion you are. If you're killing little girls, you're a scumbag. And in an Islamic nation, you would face the death penalty. So
yeah, you would absolutely.
I don't care if it doesn't make me a real Muslim for that. I don't care. But I will be honest. I'll be very honest. What he said is extremely interesting, because when I say these things online, I get no pushback and no hate from the Gulf Arabs. I get no pushback and no hate from the first world Muslims. None of that. It's only from the extremists, and the extremists are all living in Bradford. They're all living in the UK. It's really interesting that the most extreme points of view I get for the things I say about Islam are from England. It's never from the Islamic or the Arabic world. I saw another really interesting thing, actually. I'd like someone to find it. It was a post I saw on Twitter from a Pakistani guy. And he said, I'm from Pakistan, I live in Islamabad, and I was recently in Birmingham. And it felt more Islamic, and it was more backward thinking than anything you would see in Pakistan. He said, Islamabad is a far more liberal place to live than Birmingham, UK. He's saying the Pakistanis who are still in Islamabad are less Islamic and less extreme about things than those inside of Birmingham, UK. So you can have a conversation about all of these things. It's a long and detailed conversation. It'll get me in a lot of trouble. And as I'm only 2.5 years into Islam, I don't know all of the ins and outs. There's other people who know it better than me. What I will say is that I believe every country and every race, every identity has a right to their land. I believe that. I believe that the British people have a right to have an England for British people that feels like England. You can argue what a British person is. Perhaps the definition may be slightly changing, but you would argue that Great Britain has a Christian heritage, and I don't think there's anything wrong as a Muslim to say that Great Britain is a Christian country. It's always been a Christian country, and it should remain a Christian country. I believe that. I like that they let me visit. That's fine. I would never go to the UAE and say this should be a Christian nation. I would never do that, so why do we do it the other way around? It just seems hypocritical.
But that's the point, though. That's the point what a lot of people are making. If you want to live in a place that majority is Muslim, go there. You can move there. If you want to live in a place that's got the traditions, let them stay there, right? That's the whole argument about nationalism. Like, if you're proud of your country, no, you shouldn't be proud of your country.
Well, no, but that only applies to white people. And I'm one of the champions of this, even though the hardcore racists on Twitter hate me because they call me mulatto and mixed race and all these things. I don't care. I'm going to champion for it anyway. Only white people are not allowed to love themselves, love their race, and love their countries. Everyone else is. White people are the only ones who could do it. Mm-hmm. If anyone else flies a flag or says we're from wherever, or we're this color, or we're this religion, we want it, it's fine. When white people do it, it's instantly demonized. White people are the only people who are expected to give
Please don't hate me for having my little flag, sir, guys.
Up their lands. And it's actually quite, and I say this as a half white man, half black man, it's very obvious. It's very obvious for me to see. And the European countries, you could argue that America was founded multiracially. You could argue that. But the British people are a type of people. They're an ethnicity. They're a type of people from one place and one part of the earth. And once they lose it, they have nowhere else to go. That's all they have. And they're being replaced in real time. And their leader, Keir Starmer, is letting it happen. And if you talk about it, you go to jail. All of this is happening right now. And unless the men do something and replace him with somebody who cares, they're going to be replaced. That's the bottom line of it. I can then argue, I can move on to the point that, we all get what we deserve in this life and that the strong destroy the weak. We could argue that point. I could sit here and say, well, white people, if you get replaced, you deserve it because you didn't do anything about it. I could make that argument, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. White people are being replaced in their host nations. That's obvious for me to see. I don't think anyone can argue against that point. People try.
But
people
that's also a fair argument, though.
No, it's a very fair argument, but that upsets people. Or they deny it's happening. But it is happening. White people are going extinct.
Yep.
You are going
Oh, Lord.
extinct. And then when you tell people this, they have lots of different answers to it. But nationalism is feared when white people band together. And then, you can argue, this actually ties back into something that's very interesting. The reason they fear nationalism when white people get banded together is because they apply it to World War II. They say, well, white nationalists do what Hitler did because he was a white nationalist. So they say that when white people get together and are nationalistic, it's like the Nazis. When other people get together and they're nationalistic, it's not. Is this actually true? Is this the largest psyop in history? I mean, World War II has had such a profound effect on our culture up until this point now. World War II is the basis for all good and bad in the entire world. If I say to you, name the worst person in history, you'll probably say Hitler. You won't say Stalin, who killed more because he was on our team.
Or Mao.
Or Mao, who killed more. Now, I'm not sitting here sticking up for Hitler. I'm just saying that World War II has shaped the modern world. And they use it as an emotional trigger to prevent white people from sticking up for themselves. Guess what I saw in the car on the way here? A terror attack in Germany. A car attack. You see it?
Yep, this morning.
A Muslim ran over a bunch of white people in Germany this morning. But the white people in Germany can't band together to fight against it because then they are what?
Racist.
Nazis.
Yep.
Nazis.
Yep, for sure.
So they use World War II. Let me ask you guys a question. If they use World War II to subvert white nationalism to the point of extinction, wouldn't it be truly treasonous if the story of World War II wasn't even true? What if there's another story to World War II? Is it true, the story that we know? The version of events that we know? Hitler's just crazy and he just lost his mind. I'm asking questions because in my world, I understood that victors write the history. Winners write history. Winners are always the good guys. The loser was always the bad guy. Loser had no point of view at all. The winner had all the right thing and they were doing all the right things. So I'm just asking you, if this war is what's shaping the modern world and it is bringing on the ideology which is going to lead to the extinction of the white race, isn't it important we find out if the story we're told is even true?
He sounds like Kanye West here. A lot of people are gonna hate this interview. This one is gonna go massive. I can already tell it's gonna be huge, guys.
Dude, let me apply this to modern time. If you listen to the media and the story they tell you, Putin's crazy. Putin's nuts. And he's lost his mind. And he has no point of view at all. And he has no reason to invade Ukraine. There's no possible reason. If you research, you'll understand he actually has a pretty good argument. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm saying that he has his beliefs. We have our beliefs. Some right, some wrong. There's no such thing as black and white. There are different varying shades of gray in every single conflict. But the Hitler story, the World War II story, is black-white. Because that's how the winners want to write it. And that's how it always goes when the war is over. And the story of Russia-Ukraine is black-white. Ukraine's innocent, we're innocent, Russia's nuts. But if you actually analyze things and understand them really, you'll see it's not that way. So this is a very interesting thought experiment. And that's what I'm doing before the media attacks me. I'm not...
Okay, guys, I'm gonna have to leave it there. My camera is about to overheat. Unfortunately, I can only run for 2 hours and 20 minutes. If I could keep going, I would. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Kind of, trailed off a little bit at the end there, but yeah, at the beginning, it's talking about relationships and stuff. It seemed, quite interesting. It's, the most controversial man in the world, still allowed on YouTube, so it's interesting to hear that. But let me know your thoughts. I love you all. Stay free. And yeah, man, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I think I got like 35 viewers concurrent, so I really appreciate the support. If you guys want to support me, I can't do it without you guys. Make sure to hit that join link in the comment section down below. And yeah, man, wild stuff. I'll try and maybe do the part 2 tomorrow. The rest of it, I think I stopped there on whatever minute that is. 2 hours and 20 minutes in, so I'll try and do the part 2 tomorrow.